Welcome, everybody, to Season 2, Episode 2 of Next Level Gamescast, the Level Up Network's monthly gaming talk show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Andrew. I make this show Midori, and I am joined tonight by the tech guru, Agent Vincent 4756.
There you go. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
And we will be joined very soon by Jersey Tom, who's running just a little bit late, and then Mike, who's running a little bit more late. So we'll have all four of us
staggered.
Just a little bit staggered. We'll get there. But we have a great show tonight. A very great show. We're going to be having a little mini Returnal spoiler cast. We're going to be making our E3 2021 predictions and answering a call for the God of War movie and more. If you enjoyed the show at any point, please follow us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheLevelUpShow. Follow both Vince and Tom on their respective channels as well. You can get their links in chat with !Vince or !Tom. And if you're watching or listening to tonight's episode as an archive, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or your service of choice. And if you really enjoy the show tonight, consider going above and beyond with a Twitch subscription, cheer, or tip. Next Level Gamescast After Show is a possibility tonight, up to 1 hour. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about that, you can type !After Show in chat. As most of you know, NLG is a very interactive talk show. We utilize Discord in a pretty major way. If you haven't yet done so, join us at discord.gg/TheLevelUpNetwork. Become part of the community even when the show is not live. And lastly, don't forget that with Season 2, the clip contest is active. Viewers with the top clip each month of this season will receive 5,000 seasonal points. Use either the clip command in chat, or even better, manually clip a great moment tonight, post it on our Discord #clip contest channel, and put yourself in the running for the seasonal points prize. That is a mouthful. All of it's a mouthful. Spiel Druckmann out of the way.
There it is, yeah. And guys, my green screen's up just because I have redone my setup here. There's a lot of stuff back there that you guys just don't need to see. Cords and guts
dead
of
bodies.
Things. Exactly, dead bodies. Just been too busy returning over and over again. So I just accumulated a mass amount of death back there.
You might say, returnaling.
Yeah, returnaling.
Yeah, man. So before we started, you said that you had like a hell of a night. Everything good?
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. So I think you're gonna hear it in my voice a little bit. It's gonna be chill. It's gonna be chill on my end tonight.
Take it easy tonight. Yeah. That's okay.
I think we've had my first drunk stream yesterday night.
Oh, is that what it is? I did hear about this this drunk stream.
Yeah.
Now I would have liked to have been there for that. I will say. I will admit, I don't usually get around to watching people's streams too often, but I would have liked to have been there for that. What was the reason for a drunk stream? Did you have a milestone or?
No, we just, in all honesty, it had just been like a crazy week, and I kind of just was like cutting loose a little bit. We were just chatting and everything like that, and I had Kraken rum 90 proof, and I just did not watch my intake, which I paid for dearly. But it resulted in us playing Sea of Thieves at one point with one of my actual friends.
That's a perfect game to be drinking rum and playing.
I think I might have made some, very off-the-cuff statements about Game Pass and whatnot, so it was unprofessional of me. It was pretty rough.
Oh no, somebody's got to share these clips with me. We're going to be talking about Game Pass tonight, as always. And I think I need to know what Vince had to say about Game Pass when it's off the cuff.
It's very mean. It's very mean. I don't think you want to see that. I think you might think less of me.
This is a very off-the-cuff kind of guy.
There he is. There he is. The voice, Jersey Tom. How you doing, man?
Good evening, everybody. My God, does traffic stink when it gets warm out?
It does, doesn't it?
It truly does.
Let's get you in there, Tom. There we go.
There I
am. Beautiful face on stream. Welcome to the show, man. Hope you're having a good one.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
You get a haircut, or are you just hiding it all within that cap?
I think I'm probably hiding it all in the cap. You know what? I think I did get a haircut since the last time that we
yeah, I was wondering.
Show. Now that I'm thinking about it.
So Vince was telling us he had a drunk stream for the first time last night.
A drunk stream for Vince?
Yeah,
Look
man.
at you.
Yeah,
nice. Not watching Star Wars prequels, though. Just playing some Sea of Thieves.
No, Sea of Thieves. It was good. It was a good time.
I mean, look, if you're going to do anything as a drunk stream, Sea of Thieves is probably the way to get into character at the very least.
Yeah. That definitely is a haircut, Tom. You got some beautiful locks. Beautiful head of hair.
Yeah, not just the voice, but also the hair to go with it.
There you go.
Anti-pro
hair flip. There it is.
That's right.
Before we get into what you've been streaming, Tom, let's talk a little bit about last month. We had a banger episode last month discussing PlayStation's no good, very bad month. Although at this point, looking back on last month's episode, it's kind of funny, isn't it? To look back and all the drama and Jim Ryan hatred.
The short and fraud that is going on over the past month of just everybody freaking out, like losing their minds over the fact that, like, oh my god, PlayStation is done. How are they ever going to do anything? And now all of a sudden we're right back to praise Jim Ryan.
Yeah. Sorry, I just turned off alerts, but thank you, Trish, for the sub. I do appreciate that.
It's absolutely insane what's been going on lately.
But we had a banger episode. It was a good discussion, and we have to make it official. You know, how did we perform on last month's episode of Next Level Gamescast in this segment. Let's go with segments. Mike's not here to take this yet, so I'm gonna have to fill the void. Fake fans, you guys. Fake fans. You guys can get on our Discord at discord.gg/levelupnetwork. We have the hashtag Fake Fans channel where you can let us know what we got wrong. Put us to the test, our gaming knowledge. And the way it works is each episode that we go through without any mistakes or errors, we add 250 SP to a jackpot. And it is now official that we have gone 2 episodes without error. Jackpot now up to 500 seasonal points. If you hear anything wrong tonight, if any of us get something wrong, make sure to let us know on Discord, and you might get that 500 seasonal points if you are correct. We're gonna research the moment, because I will say this past month somebody made a false accusation against me.
Yeah,
and I don't appreciate that. I really don't.
I
get it though.
That you don't appreciate.
I went back and listened to it, and I do understand why the person kind of heard me wrong. I sort of merged some words together. It was about the Jeopardy game that we did last month, and remember the final Jeopardy was something about the code name for Xbox One, which was Durango, right?
Right. It was Durango. Yeah.
Tom said
the Canyonero.
Said Scarlet. And I said that is incorrect, as meaning that is Xbox Series X. But it sounds a little bit like I said that is correct. But then right after that, I go on to say it's Durango Xbox One. So it's just like it just didn't sound right.
Yeah, but I would chalk that up as a misspeak, but that is not an incorrect error. That is a misspeak. No.
We won't allow it. I'm sorry, we will not allow it. I did know, obviously, since I set up the game of Jeopardy, I did know that Scarlet was Series X and Durango was Xbox One. So no SP awarded. I'm trying to recall who that was, but apologies. No SP rewarded. We're now up to 500 seasonal points. Let us know if we get something wrong tonight, you guys. 1X was Scorpio. Yes, 1X was Scorpio. 1 was Durango. Mm-hmm. Series X was Scarlet, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, if I remember right. And what about, let's just go through some more. What about Kinect? Do you guys remember what Kinect was called?
I don't remember what Kinect was called,
to be honest. I think it was Project Natal.
Kinect was, no, I think you're right. I think it was Project Natal. Are we just giving some people a chance to get us wrong on something right now?
Well, I think if we don't speak as if we know, then that's different. If we say things like factually, like it was this, and then we're incorrect, that's different. But if I preface that by saying I'm not sure on this, I'm just taking a yes, I'm not putting this out there as factual information, that changes things. You got to keep that in mind moving forward for the rules.
What was the PlayStation 4's code name? Because I know the
Orbis, maybe?
Was it Orbis? And then because the Pro was Neo, right? And then the VR was Morpheus.
Yeah, I think Orbis was PS4.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Orbis. Anyway, speaking of Jeopardy, you guys.
Almost like a porpoise, if you will.
It is time for us to jump back into NLG's Got Game. That is our segment where, recently we just played Jeopardy. But one thing we are doing is we're taking a look at our Discord, discord.gg/levelupnetwork. There's the hashtag NLG Got Game channel, and you can submit ideas for mini games for us to play. What I'm doing is I'm taking those ideas and I'm creating them as categories within Jeopardy. That way we have more to do. We keep switching categories in and out, keeping some the same, coming up with some new ones. I will say this month we did get rid of video game developers because Vince just wrecks video game developers, and it's making it very difficult for Tom to get a win. And I feel bad for you, Tom. I really do. I feel like we needed a handicap. I'm sorry.
I don't think the devs is the problem. I think it's the video game music, which is the bigger problem.
Oh, we do have that again. I apologize. Yeah. The video game music is still here. All right, so what I'm going to do is you guys go to playfactal.com.
Yep.
I'm going to let you guys know the code name. Let me pull it up on my screen as well here.
Stand by.
You get full screen. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna do 2 teams since Mike is not here. I'm gonna do display question on buzzer device game board. I think you guys like when the game board's on the buzzer device, right? You want to be able to see what's left. So I'm gonna keep it as display game board on buzzer device.
Yeah, that's big to have.
And your number, you guys ready?
No, I am not ready. Okay. My computer, unfortunately.
So you go to playfactal.com/join. Sorry, I got that wrong the first time. Playfactal.com/join. This is only for us, you guys. Nobody in chat. Sorry. This is something between us NLG guys to test our knowledge of video games. Maybe someday we'll do like a big community one, because you can have up to like 50 people in Jeopardy, which seems like it would be a disaster, but it might be sort of controlled chaos and kind of fun in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, dear sweet Jesus. What is going on here?
You've got that blue glow on your face, so I know you're almost there, Tom.
Yeah.
Every month, guys, Play Factals is
every month
us.
Factal is crushing us, and it's killing our time frame. Okay,
New
here we
category.
go. I'll go with the pin.
You got it? Okay, here we go. The pin number is 3281. 3281. We got 1 team.
Okay,
and we got 2. All right, you guys, here we go.
Oh boy.
Start game. On this month of NLG Jeopardy, we have Video Game Music 2. As you guys know, only put the corner Skype up so you guys can see everybody. There we go. You guys know Video Game Music. It's going to automatically play a short tune, 20 to 30 seconds, from a video game song. You do not need to name the song. Just name the game that it is from. After that, we have a new category called Baker North or Neither. In this one, it will once again automatically play an audio clip. It will also say a character's name. You will have to tell me, after hearing that clip and knowing the name of the character, is the voice actor Troy Baker, Nolan North, or neither? Okay. And next up, we have a category called Who's the Boss? And in this one, you guys
are going to be getting... Who truly is the boss? Did we ever find out?
I don't think we ever did. There's an episode of Community that did a great discussion on it.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. But this one, I will be naming off a final boss. And you will be telling me simply what video game that final boss belongs to. Okay. Next up, we got returning categories, title by emoji. Of course, emojis formulating the title of a video game. And finally, fan favorite, Blurred Box Art 4 is back. All right, yay. Vince, you are the returning champion. Pretty sure we've got 3. Is it 3 months in a row now that you've won?
3 months in a row.
3 months in a row. He hates when we talk about this. He gets a lot of anxiety, but he does. He gets 3 months in a row as the winner. So you get first dibs here, man. Where do you want to go? Where do we want to start?
Well, we're going to start like we have been starting at Blurred Box Art for 300.
It's our favorite category.
It's our favorite category to start it off.
Here we go. And Tom.
What is Mirror's Edge?
That is correct.
Nice job, Tom.
Tom, you take control.
We'll do Blurred Box Art for 5. Ooh, I feel like I know this one too.
It's there. You know it.
Oh.
Know it.
Oh.
Search your feelings. Oh boy, nobody?
This
is the 500, pending. So all right. No, the time is out. It is Gravity Rush.
Oh my god. You see, the problem is because I have that as a digital game. I don't have the actual box for that. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't remember.
Now, I will say you guys can let us know in the chat as long as Vince and Tom do not have chat up.
I do not have chat up, so chat, you're free to...
Everyone's free to go. Everyone's free to go.
You are free to say in the chat and, show your knowledge, you guys.
Yeah.
Back seat.
All right, let's do Blurred for 4.
All right. Let's see. Tom.
What is Okami?
That is correct.
Nice job, Tom.
Tom taking an early lead. Go ahead, Tom.
2.
Tom.
What is Twisted Metal?
Yeah.
Need more than that, please. I need more than that.
Oh, shoot. What is Twisted Metal Black?
That is correct.
There you go, Tom.
Ooh, hold on. I will add that back. You were at 700. You're at 900 now. I'm not sure why you took it away. There you go, 900.
Okay.
Nice job, Tom.
Tom, go ahead.
100. Let's finish it off.
That is the daily double. Tom, you get 200 if you get this right.
What is Uncharted 2?
That is correct. You have to buzz in just to make it official. Go
What
ahead.
is Uncharted 2?
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. Wait, hold up. Am I like in some sort of time loop here? Like, what's going on? Like, I didn't see anything there. It's all good.
All right. Tom with 1,100. Could this be the month? You're not taking it easy on Tom, are you, Vince?
I'm gonna try to take as many of the categories that I feel the most comfortable with, trying to get them before Vince does. All right, let's go. Titles by emoji for 3.
Okay. This one, it might be a stretch.
Ooh, this might be.
I was maybe pushing it on this one. 7 seconds. Oh, Tom, go ahead.
What is Hollow Knight?
That is correct. Way to go,
nice
man.
Job, bud. Nice
Way
job.
to go. Hollow Knight. I'm impressed. Next up, Tom.
Let's go. Title by emoji for 3. That was actually a good one.
That was 3.
Now, I gotta applaud you. That's creative.
What you already did 3, so what's?
Oh, 4, 4, please.
All right. $10 seconds. A little surprised.
See, this is a weird one because, all right, I'm not gonna do it, but
nobody.
I feel like I know what it is, but at the same time, I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, that was what
Donkey Kong, you guys, come on.
Because you know what, it made sense to me, but like I was scared because I don't want to give up the 400.
Yeah, I got you. You got to lead. You don't want to give it up.
Yeah,
for the first time. Go ahead. All right, 5.
If I was behind, I would have guessed that. Okay.
10 seconds.
No.
Tom.
I'm not with it tonight.
I shouldn't have done this, but I'm gonna go Call of Duty 3.
That is correct. It is Call of Duty.
God.
Just Call of Duty. That's all you say. Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
That was for 400, right? I timed you out. That was for 500?
That was for 5.
So you were actually at 1900. Wrong way. Ooh, that's a terrible sound. Sorry, guys. 1900. Way to go, Tom.
Yeah.
Way to go.
All right, Tom, keep going.
Appreciate you for giving that to me because you didn't have to. All right, 2.
This one's kind of a stretch too.
I am not with it tonight.
Don't be throwing this game for me, Vince.
I'm not throwing it, to be honest. I'm actually honestly struggling really hard right now.
Ghost Cat was taking gets it in the chat. It is Time Crisis.
I would have never gotten that.
All
right. Let's finish it off.
Let's finish it.
Tom.
What is Heavenly Sword?
That is correct. 2,000 on the board for Tom. Look at him go, you guys.
All right, let's go Baker, North, or neither, because that's going to be a fun one for 300.
Take a nice long look. I want you to remember the one who crushed you.
Tom?
Is it Nolan North?
That is correct. It is Nolan North.
Nolan North.
That is Nolan North. Is the hangover getting to you, Vince?
Oh, I mean, I'm just slow right now. Is really what it comes down to it.
All right.
I got that. You know what it is? I have that. I have the driver's rage high
right now. Yeah.
He's at the momentum, is what it is. Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
Let's go Baker, North, or neither for 4.
In my dreams, I can move again. In my dreams, I am flesh.
10 seconds. Got a 33% chance.
I'm going to take a risk. Neither.
That is incorrect. That is
Troy Baker.
Troy Baker.
Yeah.
It was either neither or Troy Baker.
All right.
Let's do 100.
All right.
Did you think you could beat me? Me? No one goes up against the Black Mask and lives.
I'm waiting for it to finish. That is Nolan North.
What? What was
Nolan
it?
North.
Yeah, I'll give it to you, even though timer ran out. That was for 100, right? So we're at
Yes,
200
that
on
was
time.
for
All right. Nolan North is correct. Go ahead.
I want to say also voiced Penguin.
Yes, he did.
Let's do. You know what? Let's change it up. Let's go video game music for 3.
Video game music for 3.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. God damn it. Which one is it?
You guys are out of time.
I got nothing.
That is Ori and the Blind Forest.
I couldn't think which one it was.
It's been a minute since I played that, so I'm glad I couldn't tell. Let's go 200.
All right.
For video game music.
You guys are hurting me inside right now. You're killing me.
Well, this is a category for you, Drew. Let's put this up like right away.
That is Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
What?
All right.
What piece was that, Drew?
That was Someday the Dream Will End.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's make Drew really angry and go for video game music for 100 and make him really pissed off.
You guys are killing me.
Fuck. I should know this. God damn it. What the hell? Sorry, pardon my language, everyone.
I mean,
Nobody.
I can vibe cat it, but
Wow, you guys are really
yeah,
surprising me tonight. That is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. That is Zora's Domain, you guys.
yeah. It's like I said, this has been a very big minute since I played a lot of these games.
All right, you want to keep going?
Yeah, let's clean it out. Let's get rid of it because I don't want to ruin. I don't want to ruin.
400.
Yeah, 400. Let's do it. They're only gonna get harder from here.
All right.
Nope.
That is Little Big Planet.
Okay.
All right.
It sure is.
Then 500.
Let's do it.
Not a. Oh, Tom.
Donkey Kong Land for the Game Boy.
No. kind of not a bad guess though, actually. That is Fez.
Okay.
That is Fez. Got a good soundtrack. All right, go ahead, Tom.
All right. Who's the boss for 1?
Frank Fontaine. Tom.
What is BioShock?
That is correct.
Who's the boss for 5?
Whizpig. Tom.
What is Diddy Kong Racing?
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Played-
Diddy
I
Kong
played a
Racing, the
ton of
best. I
Diddy
love
Kong
it.
Racing, man.
Yeah, man. All right, go ahead.
400.
Lavos. Tom.
It's Chrono Trigger.
That is correct.
It's like you made it.
Get
for me.
on the board, Vince. You got to get on the board, man.
Vince.
No, I'm just. This is not a category for me. I'm telling you that
Okay.
right now.
Go ahead, Tom.
Who's the boss for 3? I love bosses, so that's probably why I'm doing well.
Dr. Fetus.
Oh.
Go ahead.
What is Super Meat Boy?
That is correct. And
for 2.
And for 2, General Ram.
Ooh. General Ram.
Who's the boss?
Who's the boss? Why don't I recognize General Ram?
3, 2, 1, and it is Gears of War.
Oh, okay.
Gotta get a little Xbox here, guys. Gotta do
that's why. It's Gears.
We can't be PlayStation fanboys on this channel.
The rich history of Gears.
Yes. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, let's do Baker, North, or neither for 5.
Oh crap! I didn't upload the audio clip. I apologize.
All right. Well, I remember Thunderwing because Transformers. Oh no, Transformers Prime the game. Oh shoot. Oh well, you know what? I'm gonna take a guess anyway.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with Troy Baker.
Let's find out if you're right. Neither. We're gonna take away 500 from Tom. Doesn't matter. Right, none of this matters anymore.
No, it don't matter. None of this matters.
What the hell? That's weird. I definitely uploaded. I did upload these clips. That's weird.
Well, then you just need the English voice actor for Ace, really.
Yeah, I don't know why these ones didn't show because I did upload these. I specifically remember uploading this one. I don't know why it's not playing.
I'm going to say that the voice actor for Ace, I believe, is Troy Baker.
I believe you're right. I forget. It's neither. I give it to you because it doesn't matter.
All right.
We're going on to Final Jeopardy, you guys. Shut down in March of 2015, this PlayStation software service was originally revealed at GDC 2007 alongside Little Big Planet and SingStore. Vince, are you able to take part?
No, not really. So
it doesn't allow you to?
I mean, it says I have a valid wager of 0. So
well, you can still play. You can still play.
Yeah.
If you know it. All right. Shut down in March of 2015, this PlayStation software service was originally revealed at GDC 2007 alongside Little Big Planet and SingStore. Vince is in. Wager it all, Tom.
I should have.
No balls. Do it. Wager it all.
Wager it all.
There's no time. Oh, you're in. Okay. Vince said PlayStation Home. He would have gotten it right. Way to go, Vince. Way to go. And Tom. And Tom said, what is PlayStation Home? And he got it right as well. He wagered $1.
There you go.
Way to go, Tom. And finally, the streak has been ended. The winner is Team Tom. He has brought in $2,501.
A single dollar.
Would have been interesting if Mike was here tonight. I wonder how this all would have went down. Yeah. Way to go, man. Proud of you.
Good job, Tom.
You did it.
Oh, well, thank you, Vince. I think you kind of just handed that one to me, but thank you.
I honestly, dude, it wasn't a hand. I honestly could not. It was slow.
I think you were really messed up from last night, man.
Yeah, trust me, guys. It's there. It was like 20 seconds after you answered, like, oh yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
Can't take it away from Tom though. Way to go, man.
Yeah.
You got a lot of those. You did. It's not like you got them wrong. You got most of those.
A lot of those categories were built for me.
Although I'm very disappointed in you guys when it comes to video game music. Some of those I feel like were giveaways.
It's hard, man. Sometimes with a lot of that type of stuff, when you start getting like into like the older stuff, yeah, you're gonna trip me up because I'm not used to hearing it. Mm-hmm. And then when it gets to like other stuff like Ori and whatnot, when there's 2 or multiple games, I'm sitting there trying to figure out the exact game it is, you know, and that's where it's hard for me because I'm like, wait, which variation of the melody or this or that it is for me. So that's why it gets really tough.
Yeah, I mean, the music that I committed to memory was all the games that I would play like religiously, like nonstop. Like you want to give me like Resident Evil music, like a specific, like the save theme or something like that. Like I'll get that in a heartbeat. You want to give me anything from Star Fox 64 or Mario Brothers or Donkey Kong, like
maybe you'll get that next month. We'll see. I'll keep that in mind.
Maybe don't have that category next month because it slows everything down.
Maybe, yeah, because it's a full 30 seconds for every question since you guys don't get it.
Yeah.
All right, I'd be like bringing the buzzer literally 3 seconds in on each of those. All right, here we go. Let's move on to what we've been playing this month, you guys. We're going to skip May because I have been playing Returnal. And actually, our first category or segment of Level Update tonight is a mini spoiler cast on Returnal, which we're really excited about. So we'll hold off on that. Let's move over to Vince, actually, because Mike is not here. Mike was going to talk about Pokemon Snap, but we'll skip Mike and we'll go over to Vince and Tom, who have a singular game to talk about tonight.
Tom, we need to talk about this game. This game called Resident Evil Village.
I enjoyed that
game. I enjoyed this game.
I enjoyed this game. Yeah, guys.
I enjoyed this game. I thoroughly enjoyed this game.
Yeah.
I mean, what a worthy successor into the mainline Resident Evil series.
What a love letter to the series.
Oh,
in a way.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that was the most amazing thing. Like, I consider like an OG Resident Evil fan, and I'm much more like a newcomer. Like, we've talked about this. I kind of jumped on Resident Evil with 7, right? And I've kind of gone back and played with all the remakes. And, man, 8, especially the front half of 8, is so good.
Let me interview you guys on this game.
Yeah.
So my first question has to be, speaking of what's on screen right now, does Lady Dimitrescu, or however you say her name, live up to all of the hype that was surrounding her?
She herself as a character lives up to the hype. The issue with her is that it's clear that Capcom, in making this game, did not anticipate that she was going to be as big of a deal with the fans as she ended up being.
Yeah, she's actually really not in the game very long, to be honest. And that's kind of where what's really cool about the game, and I don't really want to spoil anything for people who haven't played this yet, and this is where I said the love letter, and I think Tom will agree with me. The game is actually broken up into segments, right? And she is like the castle segment, and it's kind of like the 7-esque, like, kind of the new take on Resident Evil. And does a great job. There's another part there too where they go very PT-like. Then they have a third part where it's much more kind of like Resident Evil 4-ish, 5-ish, right? And they have a
little more goofy action.
That's what, like, everything about the game is kind of designed that way. And so she's like the first area after you get your initial experience in the village. And I think you would agree with me, Tom. It just, every time she's on screen, she just kills it the entire time. The performance there, the motion capture, everything about that character is fantastic. And the castle itself is a really fun place to explore. Would have been nice for it to be a little bit bigger. It actually does feel a little bit smaller. But it's great. Like, she
considering you said it's almost like a 3-act structure in how you go through the environments. Do you have a preference, you guys, on which part you enjoyed the most?
For me, it's definitely the front half of the game. Once you get to area 3, 4 in the end, I kind of really don't like the game as much. It's still good. But the front half for me, the village, the castle, and the house, along with the intro of the game, stellar. 100% amazingness. And then that's like the peak right after the house. And then it kind of just starts to go down a little bit, for me at least. That's kind of like where it's like, that really high peak, and then it kind of just teeters on to the end, and then you're kind of like, okay, cool, that's it.
I think 7 was like that for me in some ways. I think especially the first 3 hours or so of 7 were amazing. I thought 7 was so good at the start, and then it gradually sort of becomes less scary for starters, and just overstays its welcome a little bit as well. You both played 7?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I played 7.
I would say this is actually worse in the way it actually really kind of teeters off a little bit. Whereas 7 just kind of felt like it was kind of like they didn't really know where to go with it. Again, with this whole, we wanted to pay homage to almost all of Resident Evil. The last few areas just kind of feel like, even from a plot standpoint, you're just kind of like, this is starting to not kind of click and jive well together from stuff like that. And that's what really kind of brings it down. And then at that point too, you're kind of like every Resident Evil game seems to have, you kind of have like that just very weak final act. And I think this game suffers from probably having one of the weakest final acts that I've seen from the Resident Evil games.
What do you think, Tom? You agree with that?
I disagree. I think that the lowest point of the game comes at the swamp area.
Okay, so area 3.
Swamp area and the area 3, and then area 4. Area 4 up until you get to the battle with the boss there, with the first boss there, the mini boss, and then the big boss. Like once you get to that mini boss, like okay, like you're pretty much mostly done with that area for the most part. And then like for me, here's the thing I love about Resident Evil. Resident Evil, when it starts up, it truly gives you the horror aspect of everything. Like it truly like makes you feel like underwhelmed, like overwhelmed. There's so much going on at you. Like you don't know how to handle these situations. You're trying to conserve everything, and it keeps you there for several hours at a time. But then toward the end, especially in games like 4, definitely in 5, forget about 6, but even 7 to an extent, once you start getting to the DLCs, then they start being like, okay, you've upgraded now. You've worked through all of these little battles. Now it's time to start kicking some ass. And this game becomes an absolute thrill ride once you get past the first mini boss of the 4th area. To Vince's earlier point, I just want to tag back on one thing he mentioned about the castle. He's 100% right. The castle seems, unfortunately, much smaller than what you expected from it. When I first entered the castle, I was expecting something similar to Salazar's castle, right? In Resident Evil 4. I was expecting something where it would be like, oh, well, we're gonna have all these different areas, and to an extent, like it tried to do that, but it definitely felt a lot more condensed. It was not the kind of situation where like, oh my god, all of a sudden there's a lava section in this area or anything like that. It was still very grounded in some respects, which, I still would have preferred that, we got to explore the castle, or the castle had a lot more going on with it. And then you kind of also got the feeling that once you got done with the castle, and then you kind of like played around a little bit, like you could go back to the village for certain things. There's certain like boxes and things that you can unlock later. But once you get past the castle, it definitely feels like that they kind of set up the next 2 areas as kind of like set pieces. Yeah. That essentially you could get through, like if not necessarily that you know what you're doing, but if you can like keep your composure and kind of like figure out and kind of like see where they're going with certain things, like you could rush past that thing no freaking problem.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I've heard rumors that it's intended for 7, 8, and 9 when it comes out to be together as a sort of trilogy. Did you guys get that feeling by the end of this one where they're setting up some type of climax or combination?
There is definitively a through line story that they're doing with 7, 8, and 9. Kind of similar to, and I appreciate this about the trilogies, it seems like, for the Resident Evil series right now, because 1, 2, and 3 are definitely a trilogy in and of themselves, because they all specifically deal with Raccoon City.
Right.
4, 5, and 6 I also view as a trilogy, because it is very much dealing with immediate post-Umbrella and dealing with how the Las Plagas parasite is now like making everything worse. On top of throwing the T-virus in there, while also like giving you some like touchings on with what actually like led up to Raccoon City. 7 and 8 thus far have been the same exact way, where they are now giving you little touches onto what like went into what happened at Raccoon City, but also very clearly has its own like condensed through line. And I will say that this is not much of a spoiler, but the connecting factor instead of Las Plagas, like the first one was the T-virus and the Umbrella viruses. The second group has been essentially the Las Plagas virus and how that's being used with the T-virus. And then these 2 games are dealing with the molded. The mold is now the big thing.
It's the primordial type.
Yes. It's something that is very much primordial, I think is a good way to put it, Vince.
Yeah, and here's the one thing. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but I think I want to hear your kind of thoughts on this, Tom, as best we can dance around it. I think the little twist they do at the very end of 8 with the revelation to Ethan, if you want to talk about that way, that made me appreciate 7 so much more now. Did that do that same? It boosted 7 up for me.
It helps. It's one of those things. It's one of the few times where you look at something in the sequel where they give you a little tidbit of information that actually makes the previous game better.
Yeah, and I think it's very impressive when they do that. And that's what made that little segment we got. I was just like, that makes 7 just a better story now for me. Like I don't
know if you want to say that it's a retcon, because you're not really given certain answers to certain things. There's a few loose threads in 7 that, like, even as I looked back on it prior to playing this game, and I watched somebody do a playthrough real quick, like a speed run, but still played the cinematics, just to like refresh myself on it, as well as the intro movie to that is also fantastic that they do.
Yes.
Definitely. I think they give you the option on whether or not to watch it. Definitely watch the intro movie.
Yep.
But it definitely helps you bring in a lot more context as to what's going on with the Winters family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because there's still a lot of mystery around them. Like, there's still a lot we don't necessarily know about Mia and Ethan and now their daughter Rose.
Right.
Right, and they've kind of played this. It almost feels like a joke where they're not showing Ethan's face at all. Even in concept art or promotional material, you never see Ethan's face, as if like it's a secret of like who he actually is. Like he's gonna, be a twist to be like a character we've known all along. It's like, oh, I can't
wait for you to play this game and for you to see like the final couple cutscenes, Drew. And I just feel like you're just gonna want to go and strangle the camera. It's some of the most ridiculous shit you could see.
They're going.
Let's go to the chat here real quick.
It's like every anime. Let me just say this: it's like every anime where they like strategically, like, there's a piece of debris that just goes past. Like,
oh my god, it's like Austin Powers, but not for penises.
I'm not kidding, dude. They do it the entire time.
Oh, there's just that random floating cloud that's just in front of somebody's privates.
Paulo 3 says RE3 remake is better than Village. Mudkey says I'm with Vince. RE8 had potential, but every area could have been its own standalone game, and they could have fleshed them all out more if they did that. Mudkey also says love the approach they had in 7. Imagine if they gave the castle the same mechanics as the Clockwork Mansion in Dishonored 2, where you can literally shift around the layout to find more hidden secrets. That would have been amazing. So we got our opinions from you guys, got some opinions from the chat. Let's move on to the officials, the actual critics out there, and in a game that we haven't played. Well, I played a little bit of it, but
you've played a little bit. You've asked the question multiple times of who can you bang.
And I will say before we get into this, if you have the stomach for it, if you have the gall to do it, the first playthrough you should absolutely play it in hardcore. Because that's what I did, and I think that is the definitive way to experience that game on the first try.
Well, I'll be playing it in Shocktober, so I'll have to make my decision then.
All right. But moving on, everyone, we do have a segment for how you review, and we only have one little game we're going to talk about. It's actually
one tiny little game came out.
It's actually kind of a big game.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Yeah, it's, kind of a big deal, I guess. And that was Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Now, from what I saw, guys, when the reviews first started dropping, there's actually not really a lot of reviews for this, which I actually kind of appreciate. It seems like reviewers are taking their time to actually get through all of the games before really kind of putting their scores on it. There's been a few who have been like, I played Mass Effect 1. This is what I would rate it right now. But at the very first start there, we had an average of 90 on OpenCritic. And remember, OpenCritic categorizes all platforms. And that was around with 25 critical reviews. The last couple days, it moved down to an 89 with 31 and down to an 88 with 43. And I just checked today. I'm looking at again right now. We're still at an 88, but we're at 45. So really strong performance.
Yeah.
For BioWare on the game. And
I played about 2 hours or so of Mass Effect 1, but I will say I don't know if it's just my approach, like my
feeling it.
Demeanor it's not even like I'm feeling. I'm just like I think I'm trying to approach it with positivity, and I'm really trying my very best to just like be entertained and give the chat like my best self. So I'm just like trying to go in it with that type of mindset, and it is helping beyond just the improvements of the game, which are there. Like it looks much better, it plays much better just from the smoothness in the 60 FPS alone. But I don't really remember 2 years ago when I played it on PS3 for those 10 hours. I can't really tell you like right now, like the changes. I couldn't tell you, oh, the reticle is different or the gun control feels different. The way I can't tell you any of that. All I can say is it does feel better. And I'm appreciating it a little bit more so far. The load times are nice too, that there's no load times.
Really, I was having fun. I was having fun watching. I was having fun watching you play that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm
looking forward to Wednesday, starting back up with it. You know, asking who can I bang and
I really honestly think though, if you're able to persevere through 1, even though 1 is definitely seems like it's a lot better now, that's been the one big major hang-up. I mean, people were telling people to skip that game when they were trying to get them into the franchise. They're like,
100%.
skip 1.
Everybody kept telling me to do that, and maybe I should have back then. But now I get to play all 3 of them in a better quality.
I think you will love 2, dude. If I know you enough well to how you like games, I think you're going to really appreciate 2.
Have they done anything major to change 2?
No. So 2 hasn't gotten majorly changed. The only thing I found that they kind of really changed here, guys, was they integrated the DLC into the game. As in, like, whereas before, like, you know, if you download it like on PC or whatnot, and then they had DLC that came out, you downloaded that piece of content, and like it was kind of separate, but it was there, and that's kind of how you engage with it, right? Does that make sense, guys? It's like blood or wine and everything like that from Witcher. What they did with this is they fully integrated in now, so like you can have this more natural way of playing it. That's one thing that kind of pulled from reviewers, and it's one thing that kind of pulled from 9Fox whenever he said he was playing it, that it just has like a much more natural flow in how you can engage with that.
Yeah, and I probably won't even pick up on that, but that's cool. Yeah,
I think it's the good thing is that like if you don't really pick up on that, it feels like the game is complete now, which is seamless. I think what was the good thing.
That's kind of what I was hoping they would do, like Intergrade, where they would integrate Yuffie's chapters right into it, and what I hope they would have done with Final Fantasy 15 with the eventual like full package, where it's like, oh, we're gonna just seamlessly insert episode Ignis, episode Gladiolus, episode Prompto, all into there. So when you play the game, you don't even know that these were added later, and that would have felt like a much more complete story and a cohesive story. But they couldn't do that because of the way the story was structured and how it would have spoiled things, unfortunately. So I do appreciate that they were able to make it work with this one. So yep, that's just the one we got this month. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are getting into the level update. We're going to do a Returnal spoiler cast to start things off. So we'll let you guys know when we get into that. If you don't want spoilers on Returnal, you know, we'll do about like a 15-minute segment on that, and you can earmuff or come back or whatever you guys want to do, because we do have E3 predictions as well this month that we want you guys to be here for. But we will be right back. Hold on tight, my dark passenger. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2 of Next Level Gamescast, the Level Up Network's monthly gaming talk show, live on Twitch at twitch.tv/levelupshow on the third Sunday of every month. Make sure you never miss an episode. Hit that heart button and turn on notifications so you get alerts whenever we go live with either variety gaming or talk shows. If you're watching or listening to this as an archive, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and of course, become a part of the community even when we are not live on Discord at discord.gg/levelupnetwork. We got Vince and Tom here, of course, great streamers themselves, so please follow them on their respective channels. You can type in !Vince in the chat or !Tom in the chat. Get those links, give them that follow. And Vince brought it up during commercial break. After show is active, guys. If you don't know what after show is, it's pretty much just us sticking around to talk about anything and everything, games, movies, pop culture, whatever, because during the show, we've got an agenda and like a schedule that we're like really trying to keep on, to keep this as tight as possible, which often doesn't happen, but we try our very best to do so. So we can't focus on the chat as much as we would like during the actual talk show. So after show actually gives us a moment to just chill, put on some vibe music in the background, and talk with you guys about anything and everything. So $30 in tips tonight will be 30 minutes of after show, and if we get that full $60 in tips, we'll do a full hour of after show. That's me and Vince doing that. But right now, we are going to move on to our discussion of the month's biggest gaming industry news. It is time, you guys, for the level updates.
Don't do it. God. I just want it to be known that I have never done that, so
I appreciate that. I do appreciate that very much. Guys, we're going to start off with a Returnal spoiler cast. So another warning to you guys that
spoilers.
While this video is up on screen, our Returnal video, it's about 15 minutes of Returnal. That is what we've allotted for the spoiler cast. That means we're talking Returnal. So if you want to wait until that video is off screen, that means you should be good. Just wait for that video to go away. So we have all played Returnal, some to lesser degree. Vincent, I have finished it at least to the true ending. Vince has gone even further. I know you've gotten like the collectibles and everything, right?
Very close to it. I'm only missing like 3 audio logs, 2 artifacts, and just the research stuff now, and a couple of the xenoglyphs.
Yeah. So are you going for the platinum?
Believe it or not, I am.
Wow.
I just slowly but doing it, and that should be a big flag for everyone. Everyone should know I don't chase platinums.
Let it be known that I'm also willing. I really want to chase the platinum. I'm just going at a much slower pace than Vince is currently.
I do not feel that drive, I will say. I've got the true ending. I do not feel any drive to get the platinum. I'm good. I can just read up on people's theories now and stuff like that based on what the logs and stuff provide, and I'm fine with that. I don't need to be digging through the game to get those logs in order to get the answers that way. I'd rather just read up on it at this point. And I don't mean that to disparage the game. I'm just not the type of person that typically needs to spend more time playing these games than the true ending. But yeah, Tom has not finished the game though, right?
I have not finished the game. I am on the 5th biome. Very close to finishing it for the first time. But I am very much allowing myself into here because I have my own theories about where it's going, and I'm kind of being led to the idea that I kind of like figured out what's going on, at least what they're willing to like tell you. So I am willing to discuss what I hear, and at least up to what I've played.
Yeah. So let's start off with the gameplay actually a little bit before we get into going straight to story, because I do think that when all is said and done, I enjoyed the story. I think conceptually, I think there's a lot of cool stuff about it. I wasn't like blown away by it, but I think I still really enjoyed the game because the combat is spectacular. I do think this is classic Housemarque, and it is worthy of their pedigree. I think the leap that they made from arcade, like traditional arcade action, to third-person AAA, you might say, action third-person shooter, I think it's a really cool transition and kind of a seamless transition for them. It kind of made sense to me, and I'm really excited for their future. I think that this is something that could work for them. I think they could continue in this trajectory and have a really successful future.
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's actually kind of an astounding achievement that they were able to translate their style into a AAA third-person shooter. I mean, let's be real. It's just a bullet hell when all things are said and done. And I think they were conservative with some of the stuff there. I don't think they wanted to overwhelm people too much. But you can see some of those boss fights, dude, they throw shenanigans at you.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
It's insane. I feel like those are the moments where it does feel AAA. Like, like a lot of people keep saying to this day, even after all of this, the reviews and everything, that it's not AAA. But man, those boss battles are freaking awesome. Visually, the presentation, all of it is spectacular. Now, they did say, I'm going to read this real quick, that they want to continue making Returnal-sized games or larger. So Housemarque here with a quote saying, yes, we've been working on 2 projects previously, and now with Returnal, we have, of course, only 1 project. It's hard to say if we will continue with 1 or 2 projects in the future, but the idea of us now being able to establish ourselves with Returnal will be defining the future of titles we want to make. The idea is that we want to show we're not just a Resogun studio. We can do all kinds of things, and from our studio's perspective, that means that we want to go for these bigger types of experiences. Now, we still love arcade. We still love smaller games as well. Who knows? Maybe 26 years in the future, weird number, 26 years in the future, we'll do more of that as well, but that really depends on how successful we are able to build ourselves with the type of experiences that Returnal now is representing. So I feel like now that they got their opportunity, I bet they don't want to let go of it to a certain extent. And nope. I do wonder if that will lead to them being open to a buyout, for example, with Sony and trying to solidify that future, things like that. I hope that they can make it work.
To kind of break that in there, their next project is confirmed, I think, from leakers that it's another XDev project. Okay. So it's Sony again.
Not surprised at all. Yeah.
Not surprised.
I think I did see that. Yeah.
I think, in all honesty, I mean, these guys are a pickup for Sony.
Oh, without a doubt.
I just, because here's the thing: if you want to talk about the scale of the game, like, this isn't going to get into the whole price point discussion, but these are the types of games that are perfect because of the scale. And like, you gotta think the budget for this game wasn't monstrous, like it wasn't super expensive, right? And that, I think, but like, look at they sold this game for $70, And, you know, I don't think it's doing really decently in physical media, but at the same time, it looks like physical media was actually undershipped. So I don't know if there's like a lot of supply constraints going on there. But
and there isn't a great user base right now. I mean, PlayStation 5 is selling out everything it's putting out there, but its user base is still pretty small. So we'll have to wait and see what sales are going to be like, especially once they do price drops. I hope that they ultimately find success with this game because it is a great game. Now, I think, you know, it is a roguelike. It definitely has all of those things, but, you know, I guess a lot of people compare it to Hades in that it does try and tell a story at the same time. It's definitely not dynamic in its storytelling in the way that Hades is. It's more linear actually than that. It really is just each time you go through, you just go to the house, and if you find the house, you're going to get more story. Now you do have the logs, you have the scout logs, and you have the ship logs, and they provide more lore. And there's stuff beyond that as well, peppered throughout the world. Even just the world itself, it has that world building, that lore building within it. I thought the structure, especially throughout everything up until the end, I thought was great. I was really intrigued by the story, the way they were pacing it out and peppering it through with those house sequences. Every time I was like, ooh, I want to know more. Oh, I can't wait to find out what this means. And your theory crafting throughout all of it does a great job of building those mysteries and leading you on and doing some red herrings and things like that to throw you off. And just the kind of PT nature of the story sequences in the house, I thought it was great. It brought that horror vibe. I don't think the game is scary, but I did appreciate the horrorness of the PT like sequences.
There is definitely an existential kind of psychological terror.
Yes,
that's going on with this. It's not so much that your minute to minute isn't necessarily horror, but there is, like, especially if you listen to the audio logs and you're hearing what Celine is going through, combined with the house segments, combined with the audio logs, you are definitely getting a sort of, I would say the best parts of Event Horizon, where you're getting into a lot more psychological horror, not like the body horror and stuff like that, but like as you're like dealing with confronting your past and how everything going on in front of you is kind of like hitting on all these traumas that Celine is going through, as well as just the trauma of just having to live and die constantly to where you don't even know how long you've been there necessarily. It's all like very well done, I think, in its linear path that it does take.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very much a through line to getting to the story as far as I've seen thus far. But I think it's very well crafted, and I'm really kind of excited to see where they would go with something like this, or if they wanted to go and do something that was less roguelike, but still within this frame.
Yeah, I wonder, you know, Returnal, they said when they first revealed it that it was a franchise, so I do wonder if they might do another one and build on that story.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut there. They are making more content for the game.
Yeah, I did hear about that too, so I'm curious what that means exactly. Hopefully story DLC, something to flesh out the story.
Biomes.
I think it's going to be story DLC. I do think we're also going to get some like free DLC to bring in some other smaller like arcadey like modes in. But yeah, because like, you know, if you want to talk about story DLC, there's really only one kind of big major thread that we have yet to kind of close off there. I mean, the game's open-ended with its story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which I think we could really talk about here. I don't know if that's what we're transitioning to, but like, I'm hoping that they do it. I'm day zero, whatever it is, because I had
me too. I will definitely play the DLC for sure, especially if there's new boss battles. if they add boss battles in there.
Yeah.
But responding to Paul of Tree in the chat, why would we want an acquisition? I'm going to keep this short, but I think it really just comes down to what else has Housemarque done besides PlayStation games? Really, think about it. Like, they were working on a battle royale, which is something they didn't really want to do, and that would have been multi-platform.
And it killed them.
And it almost killed them. Sony kind of saved them in a way and brought them back to what they want to do, gave them that opportunity to get into the AAA space, and Housemarque clearly enjoys working with PlayStation. And really what it comes down to is if they acquire Housemarque, it's because Housemarque wanted to be acquired by PlayStation. Right. So it's not like they're doing a hostile takeover.
I'll say this too, when it comes to when it comes to PlayStation and an exclusive like them getting bought up. PlayStation has a very good track record, at least with supporting their studios for the most part. Aside from what happened with Japan Studio, I think that they very much are. They're very much for treating their studios very well, giving them like every opportunity to succeed. I don't really hear too much. I mean, what goes on with individual studios is what goes on at individual studios, but from the PlayStation perspective, they're doing everything that they can to let these kind of creators excel. More than I think that we've seen from Xbox necessarily with some of their partners that they've tried to partner with over the year. Platinum comes to mind.
Right.
But, no, it would be great on PC though, and God, we might see it on PC. I mean, clearly PlayStation is sort of trying to pursue the PC space more and more. So,
Paul, if it's going to be anything like what PlayStation is clearly doing with some of their recent games, it's 100% going to get a PC port. The only unfortunate thing is that you're probably going to have to wait a year and a half to 2 years.
That's going to be their mindset moving forward. Is PlayStation Now, maybe PC getting it like a year after it's exclusive only on PS5. But let's get back to the story.
Real quick, for Sony, it's a great business perspective for them to do that, because now you're getting everybody who's heard about this game, who maybe not necessarily have played it or did play it. Now they're going to get it on PC, and now the modding community is going to go off. So people are going to want to play it with all the mods and everything else like that. So they're going to win twice on this thing.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go out and say that I didn't love the ending because I didn't like the way it was presented to me, is really what it comes down to. Conceptually, I appreciate a lot of what the game did, and like I said, every house sequence I was really enjoying, the way it was peppering information and building the story to that climax. I just felt like, for me, this is one of those games where I needed to feel like there was at least some theory at the end that was the one that people were going for. Like, this is the one that makes sense, is the one that most people agree upon. And when I closed it, I was like, I've got like a lot of different ideas here, but I didn't read every scout log. I didn't read every ship log. So there's got to be something I missed. But I've gone throughout all the different topics on Resetera now and all the different theory crafting. And I got to say, I can't find any one theory that people are putting out there that people are agreeing with or that I think is the right one. It's just, there's not enough there to be able to say, like, yeah, this is probably what's going on here, which is why, for me, I think, and it's kind of funny because PlayStation is sort of known for like the sad dad games. I feel like really what this game is a sad mom game. In the end, it is a sad mom game. It's about a mom that is dealing with immense trauma and guilt, and I don't think that the world is real, really. I think it's all just a defense coping mechanism, guilt trip that she's putting herself through, even when it comes to her own relationship with her mom. It's all sort of manifested in this world as punishment almost for her. Like, she feels like she deserves to be punished. That was my feeling on the game overall. And I don't even know if I want to say what she feels like she should be punished for, because I don't know that we need to say that. Because I think it might put just discussion into much longer territory. But I do think that's sort of the essence of what this game is about, is sort of punishment and not letting yourself go, not letting yourself off the hook in a way. What do you think, Vince? You finished it.
I mean, I don't think so. Here's the thing. I can get how people think that's the way things are going with that. And I get it. There's actually a good establishment there. The thing is, like, it's kind of both. The world is real. The Severed and the Hive Mind, they're real. You do, like, the thing that I was just kind of brought to the fact of is, so the first 3 biomes are the future. The last 3 biomes are the past. You actually go back in time. You don't go forward in time. You go back in time. So that's the whole thing there. So, like, Selene is the creator and the destroyer on Atropos, as well as the actual entity that's there. So you actually have a little bit of cosmic horror going along with this game too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing too, is that with the Hive Mind were singular. They had no other, motivation other than just they were doing their thing. Then Selene came and pretty much screwed up the entire fucking thing. Pardon my language. But, like, that's the whole thing there too. So, like, And the other thing too, from her character standpoint, this wouldn't be a person who would punish herself and then just not let herself out, especially with the way that's shown that she has an extremely strong will to keep pushing.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I think that when something like that happens, what she ultimately feels responsible for, that is something that a lot of people don't let themselves off the hook for. I think of a movie, Manchester by the Sea, which is one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen. And that is a perfect example of a movie that has no silver lining ending. There's no, he forgives himself at the end. He's let himself off the hook. No, this guy is isolating himself, and he will never let himself be forgiven for what happened that he blames himself for. And I feel like the opposite. I feel like Celine is so strong-willed and stubborn in that she's not going to let herself off the hook. That's where the strong will comes from, where it's like, no, like, I deserve to be punished. Like that's what this is. Now, when it comes to what is real, like, I get what you're saying, like, the game definitely obviously displays all that information, the hive mind and the severed and all that. It portrays all that as if they're real, but of course they're going to do it that way. I mean, we're going to be told that information as if it's real because this is Celine's perspective. This is her, she is the unreliable narrator in this game. So you really can't say they're real just because she tells us they're real or because her experience in the game shows us they're real. She is the unreliable narrator in this game. So I'm not saying that that you can't be wrong, you can't be right, but there's no proof one way or the other that anything is real or fake.
Right.
I guess, you know what I mean?
I can agree with that too, to an extent. It's just, I just don't foresee this being an in your head type deal where it's just a dream or it's anything like that. I think if anything, it has to be a conceptual thing of both somehow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It has to be some sort of entity or some sort of cosmic horror that is shaping the planet based off of her guilt and everything like that. And that's where you're getting the development of a lot of these things. A lot of these things are derived from what you want to say, a type of stuff. But I don't think you're gonna sit there and say like, just in her head. Like, no, I don't think it's not that. It doesn't strike me that way.
The game is so surreal, and as King Kurt puts it, convoluted and obtuse. That was my word for it at the end. I do think the game is a little bit obtuse because of how surreal it is. That it's more satisfying for me to not consider it real because of how surreal it is. It goes so far in that direction where I can't make the bridge between the two.
Well, that's how some Lovecraftian horror can be.
Yeah.
Especially when you start getting into your psychological horrors as well, where you start like knowing like, all right, did everything actually get resolved, or are we just now living in hell world at this point? Like, or are we just going to continue the trauma over and over again? It's very much like, look, it's the same way. I believe in Drew's theory. I haven't finished the game, but everything that's leading up to this, I think, really leads to, at least to me, to be that it is all within Celine's head for the most part. I mean, we see it from the house segments with if you read the manuscripts that are there.
They feed the world. Like they're like what it's talking about in those books is exactly like what we're experiencing in the world.
They're talking about the sludge or whatever it's called.
The ichor.
The ichor. They talk about the ichor. They
talk about adrenaline, even like as if like that's a gameplay mechanic, but it's mentioned in the books.
They talk about adrenaline, and the thing that I pointed out in our meeting is, as we're looking at images of the game right now, and you notice how all of the enemies that you're facing, aside from the automatons, all of them have these weird like tentacle things, and then you see that Celine has a connection with a stuffed octopus. As that's like a very big part of her from her childhood. So I feel like all the tentacles and everything else going on are very much like part of all these enemies having some sort of influence with those tentacles.
Another good example of that is the second biome has these spinal cord like structures throughout all of it, and that deals with this is definitely getting some spoilers here. But
no, go ahead.
There's a car accident, and there's clearly like her mom was paralyzed, and it fed to a lot of terrible relationship between her and her mom, and guilt, and her mom blaming her for things, and all these kind of things like that. And then the second biome, we got all these structures that look like spinal cords. Like it's either that the planets is able to manifest your your fears and stuff. Maybe it's almost like Sphere. You ever seen the movie Sphere, or like
or
like
Silent Hill?
It's almost like it's manifesting your fears. So it's either that or she is making this herself. Right. It's one or the other, really, because otherwise it's like, why? Like, maybe it's just symbolism, but there's a lot of it.
I mean, it could be very well that Atropos is essentially like an allegory for purgatory.
Yeah, maybe
that she's stuck in a purgatory of her own making.
Go ahead. I mean, Atropos is in Greek is the goddess of destiny and fate. Mm.
Yep.
So, I mean, you have that type of stuff, and remember, she is Greek American too. So there's a lot of that type of stuff that's being played.
And there is allusion to Greek mythology within the logs and everything else.
Oh,
she
yeah,
keeps
for sure.
referencing the Titans. Zeus and Olympus come up.
Helios comes up.
Helios is the big thing, because Helios is the name of the ship.
And also, and on top of that, a name of a character as well.
Name of a character as it turns out.
Yeah, which is funny. That's something I mentioned. Like, I didn't really make that connection that was the name of that character because the game is so... It led me to believe that the planet was manifesting her memories, or her memories were manifesting because of the planet. It felt like that connection was so strong there that when you saw the name Helios on the bedroom, I wasn't thinking, oh, that the name Helios is on the bedroom because that's the name of the child. I was thinking the name Helios is on the bedroom because that is her safe space. Like, the ship is her safe space. It's almost like she named her bedroom Helios. You know what I mean? And then her ship is named Helios because that is the safe space. That's kind of another way of looking at it in a way. So there's a lot of room for interpretation here. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. But I think in this case, I would have liked a little bit more, at least the way it was presented at the end, to be just feel a little bit more satisfying. I would have liked to have felt a little bit more closure. Even if it wasn't answers, that doesn't mean answers. Closure doesn't need to be answers.
Right. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kind of interrupt there again. But I do think, and this is kind of where I kind of want to see if we do get that DLC, if that DLC does kind of close off that last little part there, because then we'll finally kind of know if that makes more sense on where they're going to go with it, if we do that. So I think it's where it's more the thing. It's like the last little piece of the puzzle for me. But the other crazy thing too is I was reading up a lot of stuff today too, just to make sure I had stuff kind of in my brain, and I know we're running off of time here, so we probably
we're not going to do mics. That's why I'm allowing this to go over.
Oh, we're not going to do mics? Okay. Yeah. All right. Never mind then. So the only thing is, like, it's starting to get darker and darker and darker from what people are kind of getting to kind of being able to pull from the logs and everything like that. It's pretty messed up. And I kind of don't really want to talk about it because I'm like, if this is what they really are going to go for, it's kind of impressive if that's what they're going to go for. But
it's very dark.
It's a depressing ass game.
When you get past the first act, and you're just like, oh, like, and this is a spoiler. You get past the first act, and she gets rescued, and she lives out the rest of her life, and then dies, like, kind of like is aware enough of her getting buried, and then she wakes up and she's back on the planet.
Yeah, so that's like there's a question there. Who do you think is the child that's looking down on her as she's being buried?
That's her son.
Is it though?
But she would be. It's a child.
She would have been an old woman at that point.
She's an old woman.
That was her son in her crash.
She's just seeing her son. You're saying like the child isn't actually there.
The child's not actually there. That's okay. If you want to talk about the guilt, Drew,
I agree with you. Okay, I just wanted to see if you guys thought like there was actually a child looking down, or if you thought it was just her manifestation.
That's her. I mean, that's the child Helios. Because when Thea and Celine get in the crash, Thea is pregnant with Helios.
Yes.
And she loses the child because of the spinal cord injuries.
That would have been her brother. That would have been Celine's brother.
That would have been her brother.
So there's two Helioses. There's the brother of Celine, and then there's also Celine's child, Helios.
Who she leaves in her crash.
Right.
That's the trauma, if you want to talk about that type of stuff. That's why you always see the thing whenever you leave the very first area of every run, Helios abandoned.
Right.
That's probably the reason why you see that. So that's where you get that manifestation of guilt. And that you can see that's where like the aspect there. And that's just where like the game kind of runs in trinities is really what it kind of works in. It works in with 3 crashes, the final crash being a representation of everything that's led up to that. And then the other thing too, what's getting kind of even more like the darker part about it is like the Celine that we hear in the audio logs, like we all know, like she's gone full out crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's complete attached. So like I don't want to talk again about it too much here, but like how would you guys feel like if you were realizing that the entire time they show the final ending, that is Celine trying to get so far out of the loop because she is so desperate to get out of this loop that she's almost trying to kill herself and her family early on before this whole time loop even happens. And it just keeps feeding this closed loop over and over and over
right again.
That's
a whole other thing that I don't even think we should get into, the whole astronaut on the road at the end, because that adds a whole other layer of like confusion to me, honestly, that I don't even want to dive into.
I will say, and those people who noticed it, who watched my stream when I saw it, the fact that when you get past the first act and you go into the audio ship logs,
and
they've changed, and one of those logs is Nixon's speech in case Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin had died.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Oh yeah,
that
really got me.
That's cool.
So the ship logs, Drew, just so you can kind of have some context here. In the first 3 biomes, they're their own thing. You unlock all of them, right? But if you go to biome 3, 4, and 5, they've all swapped out again. Some of them still read the same, but then like one is like they talk about like a Titan feeling himself screaming his name as the god sent him to bonfire. That log translates into Hideo screams out as he's set to the bonfire as Celine kills him. Stuff like that. Like there's a lot of that type of stuff where things shift in. And that's why I was asking if you had read the ship logs.
We've let the video end, so no more spoilers.
Yeah.
But let me just say this. I would have given the game an 8.5. I thought it was a really great game, killing it on the scale, as we call it, an 8.5. Vince, I know you're higher. You're up in your medal system. I would have given it a gold.
Yeah, no, and I understand where you're coming from. For me, it was a platinum. It's one of those games where I just synced with it. I synced with it. I mean, I beat that game in 10 hours, 2 streams for me. Died only 8 times. I had a blast with that game. What kind of held me from giving this game a diamond was the tech issues at launch, the crashing. I'm not really a huge save state proponent. We've all talked about this, but I have relented on that whole aspect for the sake of accessibility and everything like that. The other thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was Housemarque's Twitter PR early on when the game launched, when people were like, hey, saying I'm having crashes, and it was like, oh, well, live, die again. It was like, no, guys, you can't. I understand you want to support your game, but like at that point, like these are customers. You kind of need to, figure that out a little bit. And that was the one thing that kind of it rubbed me the wrong way. And then the other thing too, we just now got to work, I think officially, I just did it today. It's my first time I did it. They finally fixed the infected scouts. The infected scouts finally work now. And they're actually
I experienced that last night for the first time. I was playing over at my cousin's house. And I was like, wait, what is this? I've never seen this before.
That was the last patch. That was finally the last little fix there. And I like it. It's actually really cool. It's a great way of getting ether or getting loot. And it sucks. Like
it was tough though. It was a tough little battle.
But we missed that whole concept in our run-throughs when we beat that. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that held off for me.
Good night, Sherry. And King Kurt says he would give it a silver. Screw you, Vince. 10 hours.
Hey, I synced with that game. It's very rare that I do that. So
yeah.
And you got lucky,
I probably would have been around the same if I didn't have a couple of real bad runs that wasted many hours for me. One of them being a crash, the other one being literally being at the final boss, having an amazing build, and just kind of screwing it all up with a poor judgment of like where the map is, like where am I can't figure out where I'm going. Just kind of killed myself, unfortunately, and lost like a 5-hour run. That was rough. That almost made me want to quit the game, honestly, at that point.
Yeah, it's weird. Like again, it's another weird thing. I think the one aspect I can give people a lot of advice to is like, don't chase builds in this game. A build will be successful for you, but if you chase it, that's where I think a lot of people get failure. I didn't chase anything. I just rolled through. I doomed that thing. I doomed that game is what I did. I was momentum. But anyway, I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it off show, but man, like PlayStation's having a great first half of PS5. When you look at, they had Demon Souls, they had Miles Morales, now they have Returnal, and they'll have Ratchet and Clank next month. Like, they have 4 great exclusives. One of them being over 90 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
like already. That's kind of crazy. They're doing a great job.
And it's well spaced where you're able to like give each one like at least its due.
That's the one thing I was going to say. The release schedule has been perfect for them. They've done a great job with that, Tom. I think you bring up a really great point. It's finally spaced out enough to where they're not competing with anyone at that point. They're just doing their own thing.
Yep, for sure. Moving on. Oh, Tom, what does that sound mean?
Oh, you know what that sound means, everybody. It's time for the halftime hedge. Every month during the show, we take some time out to allow you, the viewers, a chance to win some big-time SP by placing bets against us, the Next Level Gamescast crew. We currently have one wager that is... well, what do we want to do first? Do we want to
Let's do the new wager?
Let's do the new wager first. We got a new wager this month. So thank you guys for coming in. Our new wager comes from a Matty G. He wagers everything. He's going all in with all of his SP, 7,436 SP, to claim that Horizon Forbidden West will not release in 2021. Repeat, Horizon Forbidden West will not release in 2021. That is this year, calendar year, up to December 31st.
I think there's a much greater chance that God of War doesn't release this year.
I agree with you,
than
Drew.
Horizon. Yeah. This is pretty ballsy, honestly. I feel like especially if it's cross-platform, cross-generational, which it is. It's PS4, PS5. I think it kind of needs to come out this year, so we're not pushing cross-gen games further out. Now, God of War might also be a cross-gen game, but I'm kind of hoping it's not. But I think like they need to get the cross-gen stuff out like before 2022. And I think they're going to try really hard to make that happen. Now, of course, we've got the COVID situation. Like, how much did that affect Guerrilla Games? What do you guys think? I mean, that's a lot of SP to be giving away. 7,436.
Well, it's a bold bet. It really is. It's a bold bet, and he stands to win big if it comes true. Now, to your point, Drew, it's exactly as you said. The COVID situation could have played a part. We don't know. We haven't really gotten any sort of idea on whether or not that's going to play any sort of role. And we've also, in none of the leading up state of plays that we've had currently, we haven't really seen Horizon since it was announced. So we don't know. We don't really know. Like, maybe they're going to show it during this E3 thing, which we'll get to later.
I think without a doubt they're going to show it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we think, but we don't know. And if they don't, what does that mean?
It means it's not this year. If they don't show it at E3, it's not this year.
You would assume so. So at this point, I would. I think it's a very bold. It's possible. It's a plausible bet. Which is why I think...
I don't think it should be quite this high myself.
No, I think it should at least be half or a little bit more than half. Because here's the thing. Here's my argument on this, Tom.
Yeah.
It's May 23rd. This game could have a September release date, which would be 4 months from now. This game could have an October release date, 5 months, or November, 6 months, or even December, 7 months. Now, if we were in the middle of, let's say, August, and this type of prediction came through and we didn't know anything like that, I would be willing to
even
say,
if it was after E3, because after E3, we're going to have a much better idea of when this game is actually coming out. And if it was like shown at E3 and he still made this bet, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, you're going out on a real limb here because we got it at E3. Like, although if they showed at E3 and they don't give us a date, they got to give us a date at E3.
Are you guys
like
saying
a month.
At this point that it is a coin toss right now about whether or not it's not? Because that would be the reason why I would drop it down. I would drop it down if it's if you think it's a 50-50 kind of situation where it's either going to be released this year or it's not.
I do think that it's around the middle for me, like as far as how I think I'm like 50% sure that it'll come out this year. So I don't think it should be 7,436 SP. I would say 3,000, 4,000 maybe.
I'm very confident this is coming out. This was the other game after Ratchet and Clank. We know this. We know the calendar has shifted, but I don't think within that much of a range to where, because you understand what I'm saying there. We got Ratchet, and this was the game that was supposed to follow Ratchet. We're getting Ratchet next month. That still leaves like 5 months. You know what I'm saying? I just don't feel like it has to come out this year.
Right.
If it slips 2022, then it's not just COVID. Something else happened. we're getting rid of the PS4 version. We're redoing the entire scope of the game. We're redoing everything type deal.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You know what I'm saying?
Which means that really maybe should be higher, in your opinion, than 4,000, 3,000. Maybe 5,000 would be safer. What do you think, Tom?
I'm 100% in the idea that it is coming out this year. I truly believe that it will. And I feel like the house kind of leans that way, that it is going to come out this year.
Then let's do 5,000.
Which is what I think makes this a much greater bet than I think a 50-50 kind of toss-up.
Yeah.
Let's do 5,000. You guys agree with that?
5,000 I think is fine if you want to go that way. A Matty G I don't think is here, so I don't think he has...
He does not get to negotiate, no.
He does not get to negotiate, unfortunately. But I think that is a fair bet. If you want to take it down a notch, I think 5,000 is as far as I'm willing to go on that.
I think that's a fair wager. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with that on 5,000. Yeah.
All right, we're putting it in the books. We got a Matty G is down for 5,000 SP. Now, guys, remember, if a Matty G is correct, and they are correct, not only will they win their get their winnings, but also the chat, you all will also get a smaller percentage of those winnings. So it behooves you to not only just participate in Halftime Hedge, but also to make your own bets to try and get the most SP that you can out of this. Something that we are willing to negotiate with you, even something smaller or lighter. We definitely want to get you guys involved in giving you more chances to win SP to get up on all the rewards for the season.
Mm-hmm. Now, in this case, 25%. So 1,250 would go to the entire room if Matty G is correct.
Now, moving on to our resolved wagers. We missed out last month because Returnal was delayed, but now it is out. King Kurt wagered 2,000 SP, saying that Returnal will score between 83 and 85 on Metacritic.
Ouch.
Which is which was a solid bet, I think, for most of us. Yeah. I think we all.
He was damn close, that's for sure.
Yeah,
it was.
And at time of the show, the review score on Metacritic is out of 106 reviews. So this is not a small sample size, ladies and gentlemen. It is scored 86.
A dramatic drum roll right there.
You make it even worse on him.
King Kurt, this is what we call in the business a bad beat. Because you were right there. You were on the cusp of being correct. And just by the skin of your teeth, you just dropped the ball right at the goal line. Yeah, man. Much like Deshaun Jackson scoring a touchdown. You just let it go just before you crossed.
Thanks for playing, though.
Thanks for playing, though. And
so much bull.
It is. Look. Unfortunately, I tend to agree with you. It's really a shame.
Hey, like I said, I would have given it an 8.5. So I'm on your side, man.
Yeah, man. Those hundreds of reviews are false reviews. Still hell of a beat, though. It's a bad beat, dude. It's still hell of a bet. 100% it was a hell of a bet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's a bad beat. Real bad beat. I feel for you, man. But sometimes you live by the sword. Sometimes you die by the sword. And it was a good chance. And you didn't lose too much. Like 2,000's a lot, but it could have been a lot worse.
You can come back from that.
You can definitely come back from that, bud. Try to make another bet before the season is over for next month on the Level Up show. The next Gamescast.
I still make that mistake myself sometimes.
Oh yes.
Oh good.
Guys, let's move on here. Let's get into the second part of the level update.
To you guys.
All right, so yeah, guys, we're gonna be talking about E3 2021 predictions. So let's get some confirmations out of the way. All right. So we have Jeff Grubb, who has said Hellblade 2, Elden Ring, and Everwild will not be shown at E3.
Yeah, the bummer is out of the way first. This is a real bummer. I think especially for Elden Ring. I think a lot of people are really upset about Elden Ring.
Is Hellblade ever coming out? Is that actually a game that exists and it's not just a cinematic?
You know, I said it, and I know people have given me crap for it, but honestly, I think Hellblade 2 was Microsoft's Killzone 2 moment. I truly 100%.
I agree. No, I agree with you. 100% with you. And I called it that moment. I called it that. If you could go back in that reaction, and I was like, I was trying not to sound like a fanboy or some type of pessimist, but I was kind of peppering like little jabs in there saying like, I don't think it's going to look like that, kind of. Pretty much like it looks so good in that, but at the same time, it's got huge letterbox in that reveal. It's all frames. Focused entirely on her face. Like it's all depth of field in the background, 100% focus on her face, 24 FPS. Like, yeah, when you get rid of all of everything else and you're 100% focused on the character model, 24 FPS with huge black bars on the top and bottom, you can really push the polygons and have an amazing looking character model. I don't think it's going to look like that in gameplay, and I think they probably know that. I think they were just trying to get people super hyped with that reveal, and that was the way to do it from a graphical perspective. And I don't think it's going to bite them in a major way. I think it'll be fine. Like, it'll still look great, and there'll be people that nitpick it, like the puddles in Spider-Man, but it'll be fine. It just, they announced it way too early.
It's CGI, Polytree. That's why it's not going to look like that.
I don't think it's CGI. I don't think
it's CGI. The Digital Foundry guys confirmed it was mostly CGI with a few in-game assets, more than likely. Okay. I mean,
I trust the Digital Foundry.
I don't want to sit there and sound like a dead, like I'm not beating on that. Just because it's Unreal Engine 5, they just now transitioned into that. When Hellblade 2 was revealed, it was not confirmed to be Unreal 5. Let's make sure we're correct on that one, okay? But anyway, moving on. Team Cherry confirms Silksong will not be at E3, which is a big bummer.
That's like huge for me, dude. I'm waiting forever for this game. I want Silksong so bad. Hollow Knight is like one of my favorite games of the last decade. I love Hollow Knight.
That's another game where I feel like it's never going to come out.
They're taking their time. They're still a small team, and they should take their time. Just make that the best it can be. I mean, it was originally meant to just be DLC for Hollow Knight, and they've expanded it into a full game. They're still giving it away for free to people that backed them on Hollow Knight. Like, they're amazing. Their fan service is
You're going to be waiting
anybody.
For this game, much like how I waited for new Venture Brothers seasons that just came out like so far apart from each other. Yeah. I mean, this is it's a tough break.
Yeah. The other big thing here was Matt Booty confirms Microsoft and Bethesda have combined their conferences.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. That's going to be a long ass conference.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we talked about this.
Get the espresso, whatever you need to get through that.
We talked about this off show. That really, when it comes down to it, this should be the best Xbox conference that has ever occurred. Yeah. I don't care about COVID. Like I get that I've had an effect on things. Even with COVID, this should be the best conference they have ever put together. Showcase, whatever you want to call it. There's no reason for it not to be. With how many acquisitions they've made, how long we've been waiting to see the fruits of those acquisitions, there's no reason they shouldn't blow everybody else out of the water. And that's gonna be a problem if they don't. I'm nervous almost.
Drew, I mean, the question has to be begged though. I mean, how much gameplay do you actually expect to see in the Xbox conference?
A lot. I should see a lot of gameplay. I should see a huge Starfield presentation. I should see... Really, I mean, I feel like I should have seen Everwild or something like that too. But, I mean, we better get something big on Halo.
If you had to put a percentage on it, Drew, how much of that conference has to be gameplay in order for it to be a success?
If they've learned their lesson, there should be zero CGI. Zero. There should be zero CGI in any of it.
So you're saying no cinematics, no...
Cinematics is fine. No CGI. No CGI. You could do like a story trailer, but every single one of those story trailers should show gameplay. I should say, like, if they're doing like a trailer, there should be a 50-50 cutscene to gameplay ratio. At worst. Like, we should be seeing gameplay on every single game that they present here, pretty much. In my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
with how long people have been waiting to see all these games that they should be showing at this, they better be showing gameplay.
So it should
now, maybe that's why they don't show Everwild. Maybe that's why they don't show Hellblade, because they can't show gameplay. Hopefully that's the case. They're holding those back because they just want to show gameplay.
So short of it being potentially a brand new announcement for a brand new game, you think that 100% of the games that are there should be, let's say even 95% have to have gameplay.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, Duroc. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, Duroc says I will bet all my SP that they screw it up.
Oh, jeez.
He's got a lot of SP too. Here's the thing: it wouldn't take a lot for them to screw it up when it comes to what is at stake, because they could still have a great conference And in my opinion, if it's not fantastic, they kind of screwed it up because they just have so much that they could potentially show and hype up like that. This needs to be in a banger conference. It really should be a banger. But let's not go too much further on that.
Well, I agree with you. It's if they don't knock this out of the park, it is an absolute embarrassment for them.
This should be E3 2015 Sony levels of amazing, and 2016 levels of amazing showcase. That's what I think.
Yeah. Moving on here real quick, guys. Last thing we kind of have going on here is Square Enix is revealing a new PS5 exclusive based off Final Fantasy at E3. So this came from a leaker / insider on Resetera, and I'm sorry I pronounced the name wrong here. Jeez, cannot speak. Navtara, I believe.
I say Navtra.
Yeah, I was going to go Navtra.
Okay. This is a quote. I believe you can expect at least one more major Final Fantasy announcement in addition to the updates on the currently announced stuff. 16, Endwalker, and 7 Remake. It would be a good E3 season for Square overall. I don't know their exact E3 schedule, but I'm guessing based on knowledge of what games they have in development, how far they are, their target release dates. So take it with a grain of salt. I believe we're getting 2 major SC reveals this June, a PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy title and a cross-gen Eidos title. Just expectations, it's something new. Not as high-end as Final Fantasy 16 or Forspoken, but certainly more significant than World of Final Fantasy or a remaster. Conceptually, I think it might be up many people's alley.
Sorry to tease people with this in the chat, but let's hold off on discussing this because I have a hope and dream related to this, and then we can discuss it. All right, just give it a little bit of time. Let that fester. Let that marinate for a little bit, guys.
Chocobo racing.
Yeah, let that marinate for a little bit. Think about what you would want it to be. We'll talk about that. I got my hopes and dreams for that one.
All right, so
I'm leaving.
So Drew, your predictions for E3.
Yeah, I think let's go, round table here. I'll say my first one.
Okay.
So my first one will be that Hideo Kojima will appear at the Microsoft E3 showcase. He will reveal an Xbox PC exclusive with an episodic structure intended to take advantage of Game Pass in some way. Like, it's going to be a focal point of this, is that this was made possible through Game Pass. Like, they're really gonna build that up. Like, Game Pass made this a possibility. Otherwise, the showcase will be and I'm talking about Xbox. Otherwise, the Xbox showcase will be mostly focused on the ZeniMax acquisition and updates on their slate of games, with the largest focus being placed on Starfield, which will have a long gameplay demonstration. I'm talking like almost 10 minutes. Somewhere in the 5 to 10 minute range. It's gonna be a long gameplay demonstration,
like a true vertical slice of that game.
Yeah, like a real showing the systems and the mechanics, all of it. Like what is this game when you get down into it? And because of the focus on ZeniMax, I'm gonna go a step further and I'm gonna say, I hope this is kind of a hope and dream in a way. I hope there's no additional acquisitions announced at this showcase. They're going to be all about ZeniMax. They don't want to take any spotlight away from that major acquisition. They're going to not announce any other acquisitions at this showcase. That's my first prediction.
That's your first prediction. All right. I like it. My prediction here, and mine's pretty kind of, whatever. But I honestly think this is a strategy. I think Ubisoft Plus will make its debut on consoles. This is to maximize the new Ubisoft strategy of premium games and free-to-play experiences like The Division Heartland. Now, the price point is the only thing I can't quite figure out, because at $14.99 on PC, it makes sense because you get a lot of legacy titles, but you really don't get those as much on the newer consoles. You get a little bit more on Xbox for sure, but even on PS5, you really don't get that. So I was thinking that maybe there'd be a lower price point, from around $7.99 working upwards to $14.99.
I think the question we should be asking is, will it be free with Game Pass?
More than likely, to be honest. I actually expect it to be a thing that they'll do with Game Pass, which will be, whatever. Because, there's been a lot of smoke with that, but there's also been some talks about it being a plus benefit now as well. So I don't know if it's a partnership with everyone or if that's just cross signals happening. Who knows? We'll find out.
Okay. Yeah, Ubisoft does have a show.
They do.
So we'll have to wait and see. Tom, your first.
Gotta love those Ubisoft shows.
Sometimes they're not bad.
They're fun. They're a fun time.
Yeah.
So my first is that EA will announce their next Battlefield, and it will have a demo beta ready to go for late summer. The game will be available on Game Pass day one. So this kind of leads me to the idea that maybe it's going to be at an EA show, maybe it will be at the Microsoft show. But I truly believe that I think we're likely going to get the announcement as well as the Game Pass announcement to go along with it. Since Sony has the partnership with Call of Duty, it only makes sense to me that that Microsoft would want to go to the extra step and try to secure Battlefield. Because I think, and I've been saying this, and unfortunately Mike's topic, Mike, we had to skip his topic, but to be very short with it, a lot of people, I don't think, at least from what I'm seeing, aren't really too high up on Call of Duty this year. So I'm thinking that it would be, that's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
I would think that this announcement would be huge for Microsoft as a chance to potentially be the mainline shooter of the holiday season for 2021.
Yeah, it's a good prediction.
How insane would it be, though, if Sony was the one who ended up with that as well, and they have both COD and Battlefield? How stupid.
Dude,
I think Tom is right, though. The more likely scenario is that Xbox will pick up.
It's like almost a 98% for Microsoft.
Yeah.
I'm just saying how
my dark
crazy.
past thinking that I was going out on a limb saying that Madden will be announced at the EA.
Here's the thing, like the predictions part, because we have a hopes and dreams part too. The predictions part is really like us saying like we really do think this is going to happen. We're not doing hopes and dreams right now. Like we're trying to go out on a limb here and say we think these things are going to happen. So moving on to my second prediction, I think this is going to happen. We talked about Hideo Kojima. Now let's talk about Konami. Konami announced that they will not be present at E3. There's a reason for that, you guys. The main reason is because they're waiting for the PlayStation event that is going to happen, I would say, a couple weeks after E3. They're going to give a little bit of space. PlayStation will have their showcase 2, maybe 3 weeks after E3, and Konami is waiting for that moment because they will be revealing, finally, Silent Hill. We will get the reveal, and we will not get Metal Gear Solid. Blue Point's Metal Gear Solid, which so much smoke there. I believe it's true. I do believe that Blue Point is working on Metal Gear Solid. I don't think it's ready. I think they're going to focus on Silent Hill right now. They're going to announce that, and we'll have to wait for Metal Gear Solid. That's my second prediction.
That's your second prediction? All right. I'm going to go to my last prediction because I didn't come up with 3. I only came up with 2, to be honest. And this is actually a previous prediction for me, for anyone who's kind of followed the show. I do believe a big focal point of Microsoft's show will be Halo Infinite's free-to-play multiplayer. I think it's going to be a first look, and I think also early access will be announced as a Game Pass perk. And I think it's going to be like a thing they're going to launch right at the summer. That's going to be their thing. That's going to be the marketing hype machine for Infinite, I think.
I think you're right. I think that it's got to be free to play. And I think in general, Halo Infinite, outside of the ZeniMax stuff, is going to be the other huge focus. I mean, it is their first big exclusive, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, Game Pass is so great that people are sort of overlooking this. But we just talked about how there's going to be 4 great to excellent PlayStation exclusives within the first 6-7 months of PS5's release. And there hasn't been an Xbox exclusive released in like, I don't even know how long. I can't even remember the last Xbox exclusive that was
in quite a while. And as a matter of fact, Xbox is releasing a PlayStation exclusive before they release it.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it. So Halo is their first big exclusive they released in a really long time. They've got to, bring out the celebration for that one. They got to bring out the parade and everything. We got to see this thing, and it's got to look fantastic. And the multiplayer's got to be free to play, and everybody's gonna have it on Game Pass, and the numbers are gonna be crazy.
Gonna freak out.
Everyone's gonna freak out. It's gonna be a good moment, for sure.
All right, this one's a bit of a stretch, but I think it's actually gonna happen this year. Nintendo will announce in tandem with the Switch Pro the N64 games library being added onto the online store. I think that this would be a great co-announcement for Nintendo to really put some goodwill toward some of the fans who have been clamoring now for a while for them to add on N64. And N64, Vince, you would probably be able to talk about this. Not very easy to emulate, from my understanding.
It sort of. It's gotten better. Most emulation has. N64, they're starting to break through right now. Where people were really breaking through right now has been Game Boy Advance, Dreamcast, that type of stuff. That's where a lot of the hardware has been going for. The N64 just has a couple like weird issues, but like you could emulate that on a PSP if you wanted to, but it was only certain games. Like I remember trying to emulate Paper Mario on the PSP, and there was like graphical glitches and things like that.
Slow down a lot of things.
Well, that was the thing, because I think there's like a lot of stuff too. I don't think Paper Mario was an issue with it, but it was like the expansion pack has kind of like threw a wrench on how like the RAM expansion pack that you got with Donkey Kong 64, and then one other game I believe, and that's kind of like thrown a little bit of the emulation scene in the loop there.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I think I do think that this is going to be a great tandem little announcement for Nintendo to do, just to throw some goodwill toward a lot of the really big Switch fans out in the audience.
Nice, very nice. My third and final prediction that I will share. It will not be directly at the PlayStation Showcase, and the reason I say that is history has shown that PlayStation doesn't normally make these kinds of announcements during E3 or at their showcases, but within the vicinity of the showcase and E3 in general. So, within the month or so, maybe it happens in July, Sony will announce the acquisition of either Housemarque, Bluepoint, or both.
How strongly do you feel of both?
I think they want to give them space because they want to give each of them their spotlight. They both deserve that. So I don't think it literally happens at the same time. I don't think they announce we've acquired Housemarque and Bluepoint. They need to have their own moment. So I don't know how far apart that is. I think it's in the works. I think both of those are in the works. I think Housemarque is the more likely right now.
Okay.
To
think
be announced.
One more game.
I think Housemarque needs it more than Bluepoint does.
I agree
Housemarque needs Sony, and they really might have gone away if it wasn't for Sony. And I think they know that. I think that they are very grateful for the opportunity that they had with Returnal, and I think they're very excited by it. They want to do more games like that, as we talked about earlier. Sony will allow that to happen. This is a situation where this is not at all, PlayStation probably pressuring Housemarque. It's Housemarque wants to be acquired.
Yep.
And PlayStation will be the one to do it. I think that they'll do it after E3 because they probably do want to see what Xbox does. They want to make sure that they don't make any crazy acquisition announcements or something along those lines at E3. I'm sure Sony knows about this kind of thing. It's not like Microsoft is going to make an acquisition that Sony doesn't know about, because anybody that Microsoft is going after, I'm sure that Sony probably did as well. There's probably a bid war on a lot of these situations, but they probably do want to wait and see how things play out at E3. They're going to give it some time, and then they're going to continue that momentum after their showcase with that acquisition news. That's my guess.
Yeah,
gotcha. I think, Tom, you got your last prediction up.
I have my last prediction in. Very quick one, very simple. GTA 6 logo will be revealed. We will not get a trailer or gameplay, but will be very much in the tradition of Grand Theft Auto. Somebody will come up with a temporary tattoo that'll just have the GTA 6 logo on there. Maybe it'll be Phil Spencer, but somebody's going to be showing it off.
I think this is one of those situations where I really think GTA is PlayStation this generation myself.
I think it's also going to be a time exclusive.
I think so as well. I think this is the big one.
Shit show.
Yeah, this is going to be the big one. I agree. I didn't make that prediction. It's funny that we're talking about that, but I do think that. I think GTA 6 is going to be timed exclusive on PlayStation.
But keep in mind, guys, I'm saying it is the logo and nothing else. It'll be just the logo.
Would they need to do anything else?
That's all they have to do. Yeah, that's all they got to do.
You don't have to do anything else. You just got to show the logo.
And if it's at PlayStation Showcase, then get ready for the internet to erupt. Because timed exclusives is one of those things that people get so pissed off about. And if it's GTA, holy crap.
Could you imagine this just real quick? How Tom describes it. You see the Rockstar logo, you see the Rockstar North logo, you see GTA 6. And then right after that, you have that whole sharp go right to black, and then it just says PS5 console exclusive. And you're just like, and everything just goes.
Here's the thing, going to Olive Tree, you're right. They don't need the money, but literally how much it would cost for Sony to get this, it might be 1 month.
Yep.
It might be 1 month timed exclusivity. It might be 3 months, but that's all they need. 1 month timed exclusivity on something like GTA 6 would be insane. And it would be probably a lot of money to get that. Especially if it launches
with the new version of GTA Online.
Yep.
If that's ready to go in tandem, because remember, Rockstar's had a bit of a difficulty being able to have like the online portion of that game ready upon release. I believe they had trouble with it with GTA 5, and they had issues with it definitely with Red Dead Redemption 2. Mm-hmm. So honestly, even bigger than the game itself being ready to go, you have to also make sure that the online component is ready to go. And if that is console exclusive, that is going to be huge.
Yep. We're going to dive into this more later with some Game Pass talk, but one of the things I feel like I'm seeing based on sales numbers and things like that is that studios, developers are recognizing a good way to get to double dip. Yes, exactly. To get 2 paydays. Make it timed exclusive on PlayStation, and then when that ends, have Microsoft pay you to have it on Game Pass. And then you get 2 paydays, and everybody wins, kind of in a way. As long as those people that are on Xbox are comfortable waiting and getting everything on Game Pass, which everybody seems to love, right? I get to play all these games on Game Pass. Okay, the caveat to that is that you just have to wait a year,
right?
Because PlayStation bought up the time exclusivity on it. So we might see more and more of that as time goes on. We'll talk about that later on with another story. But let's get into our hopes and dreams, right, Tom?
Yes, let's get into those hopes and dreams. Do you want me to start off?
Yeah, why don't you start off? Go ahead.
Sure. My first one is that Nintendo, there's some rumors going around that Nintendo will add in yet another DLC character into Smash, and I think it is finally time that we will get Doom Guy / Slayer coming in as the next contestant. The next challenger, if you will.
Do you think this is because Nintendo and Microsoft, their relationship has kind of blossomed?
I think that's the Bethesda relationship. I think we'll finally get to see Doom Guy. Especially now because we saw that Doom 64 got a release with a faux N64 box, collector's edition, like a physical release. So I think that would kind of also like lead toward it, of it being like, okay, we're finally going to get Doom Guy in there. It's going to be pared down Doom Guy, but it'll be Doom Guy.
Yeah.
Nice. Vince, go ahead. You can go.
Yeah. My first prediction here. Hope and dream. I think you guys are going to know this.
These are a little bit more like this might not happen, but we want it to happen.
Yeah, this is probably not going to happen. But anyone who knows me know I've been crying for this now for decades. Yeah. Really, just like 4 months. Is that Sony's going to drop the summer firmware update for the PS5? This will finally enable internal SSD support and 1440p support, along with VRR and 120 hertz native support for that resolution. Because I need that. I'm tired of playing games at 4K or 1080p.
Yeah, it's coming. We do know it's coming, right? It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that with this summer update, it's both of those. Like, then that's it. After that, PS5 hardware UI, smooth sailing for me. Those are the last 2 key features I truly want. For me. Moving on to
my first hope and dream. PlayStation will rebrand PlayStation Now and detail it as a service more closely matching Xbox Game Pass. It will not be an equivalent to Xbox Game Pass. It's not going to be that great, but it's going to show an effort to move closer into that direction and fill that gap a little bit that they do have right now. We talk about it a lot on our Discord and on the show that like Game Pass is just the conversation right now. It's just, is it on Game Pass? When's it going to be on Game Pass? No, I'm not going to buy this because it's not on Game Pass. Like Game Pass is such a huge thing right now. And I do think that PlayStation needs to respond to that. What I do think they're going to do with their rebrand of PlayStation Now is they're going to confirm that first-party PlayStation titles are going to come to the service. And they're going to clearly outline how that works. Is there a rule to that? Is it 1 year? That's what they're going to tell us. Because I don't think they're going to ever want to lose that, at least a year, probably, honestly. A year of exclusivity on console, physical media, digital download on the store. Like, they want to get those sales because their games are good enough for it. And we all know it. Like, I'm going to buy them day one. I'm not going to wait a year for PS Now or whatever it's going to be called. But some people would, and that's okay. And that's what's great about it is they can hopefully get subscriber numbers up because of people that are willing to wait a year or more. But they need to make that clear. They need to say, God of War, Ragnarok, whatever it's going to call, it releases on March 2022. March 2023, it will be on PlayStation Now. Like, they need to make that kind of thing clear for this to be successful, I think, in the way that Game Pass is because of all that first-party content. They need to make that kind of thing clear. So that's what I think.
Okay. Moving on to the next one. my next hope and dream is that RE8, the game that we've talked about just a little bit on the show tonight, will have DLC available the day it's announced at E3. So we will be seeing new DLC for RE8, hopefully a new area, hopefully it's just something else that shows off maybe where Chris was throughout the entirety of that game. But we will see some DLC announced with the first part of that DLC available that day.
Very cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we talked about it a little bit, Tom, but that game actually definitely has some cut content feels to it a little bit. So I definitely feel like I agree with what your hope and dream there seems really plausible.
There are two portions of that game specifically. Chris is the first part, but there's another character which I will not spoil because this is not the RE8 spoiler cast. But there's another character there that Vince and I have both agreed on that we think would definitely benefit from a DLC.
Yep. Moving on to me, and I'm going to kind of piggyback off a little bit of yours, Drew. And what it is for me is I hope with this new Game Pass-like service from Sony that it has that same perk of a 10% discount on PSN. I feel like that's something that Sony, especially with a digital-only console now, that's the one I have, to me, that's how you benefit and keep people more locked in your ecosystem. I think it should actually be an actual perk of Plus now, not a select discount for certain things. It should be like an overall, it's a 10% discount period on the store, with other discounts stacking in on that for other things. But I'm hoping that at least with the Game Pass-like service, that they at least add that perk in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Moving on to my next one. I feel like this one needs a little panache. Like we need to bring the lights down, guys.
Oh, God.
Lights go down. We're at Square Enix's showcase. We got that classic orchestral theme, overworld main theme from Final Fantasy VII, building as we get just an open shot of landscape, just beautiful green fields and flowers and chocobos running in the distance, and then our amazing crew of heroes from Final Fantasy VII come on screen, and we get just a very short demonstration, just a trailer, but just meant to represent the scale of this world. What we're going from Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 to Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. And that's all they really need to show. They just need to show the world. Just one shot. That's all they need to show. Just allow me to see that, and I'm going to be so excited for me to enter into that valley or that field. That's all I need with that music in the background. I think that would be so cool. So just very short for Square Enix on their teaser for Remake Part 2. But they will also do a Final Fantasy 16 reveal. This will be a trailer, gameplay story, 4+ minutes long, pretty meaty trailer for Final Fantasy 16. And it will show off more fantastical environments. One of the big fears that I've seen in myself as well, included in this, for that original 16 reveal, is that it felt a little bit too old-timey, fantasy, like just lots of grays and browns and like it didn't feel fantastical in the way that Final Fantasy usually is. Now, I'm not saying it needs to be Final Fantasy 13 or anything like that. It doesn't have to be super colorful, but I do think we need to see some shots of some amazing kingdoms, the one with the enormous crystal that goes up into the sky like a skyscraper, something like that. Just seeing shots of those beautiful cities and a lot of color in those cities, I think will go a long way to show that there's a lot of diversity in the environments in this one. But I do think we also need to get a better idea on like, what is this gameplay system? How many people are in it? Like, do we have one person, a main character, or is it a party system? Do you switch between them? I think they do need to show that off a little bit in their gameplay demonstration. Maybe they don't go into like an actual mechanical demonstration of like where this is how it works, like that 7 remake reveal, if you guys remember. Right. But one where we can like inspect the trailer afterwards, like all of us dire fans, like, oh my god, like maybe this means this, maybe this means that. Let me inspect these moments and figure out how this gameplay system works. Give us enough there to go off of. And then the big one, guys, that we teased earlier, this unknown Final Fantasy PS5 exclusive. So let's go into some other hints that have been laid out by this Navtra, who is very trustworthy, by the way, on Resetera. The big thing is that she has confirmed that it is Souls inspired. She did not say Souls like, and she even went so far as to say it is not what most people are going to expect when they think of Souls meets Final Fantasy. Now, when I first wrote this theory, this hope and dream, I said I wanted it to be a Souls Final Fantasy game. That was before there was confirmation from Nostra on it. So great, my hope and dream seems to be true there. But what I really want now that I've seen a lot of people speculate on what this game could be, I want it to be old school Final Fantasy 1, 4 fiends, meaning Lich, Marilys, Kraken, and the fourth one I'm drawing blank, Tiamat. Like, imagine that. Imagine those 4 beasts, classic Final Fantasy beasts, as Souls-like boss battles. And then add on, God, maybe put Ifrit in there. Maybe put Bahamut in there. Like, imagine that you are the Warrior of Light, and you design your character at the start of the game, and it's designed after the Final Fantasy 1 world, building on that lore, building on that world, maybe even building on that story, even, through a side, story. And just like it being an action combat game from Team Ninja. That's the rumor right now. Team Ninja working on this. They've worked on Neo, of course. They've worked with PlayStation. They've worked with Square Enix with Dissidia. We got a Team Ninja character action game focused around that. Oh my God. That could be amazing. That could be absolutely amazing. Now, as far as like the budget on this game goes, we heard earlier that it's not quite 16 Forspoken level, but Navtra would say, like, expect something higher budget than Nier Automata. And I think that's pretty damn good.
No,
Nier Automata is...
Jeez.
Nier Automata is a great looking
Which is
game.
insane to say.
Yeah. And no, it's not. It doesn't have the polish that a Final Fantasy game normally does, and it has some muddy textures, and the world's a little bit barren and things like that. But yeah, I mean, if it's like that, even higher budget than something like Nier Automata, with Team Ninja working on it, Souls inspired, oh, this could be something really, really special. I think. I'm excited. I'm really excited for that. So, I think that's. I think we're gonna get it. I think we're gonna see that at this showcase for Square Enix.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's Souls inspired, not Souls like. You and I had a good back and forth on a lot of that, Drew.
I think it needs to have more presentation than a normal Souls game.
Right. Yeah. We talked about that, and I definitely think the main narrative needs to be hyper focused. But I do think you need to have that external lore from item descriptions and whatnot to kind of give people that type of explorative.
And that's what's great about Final Fantasy 1, because Final Fantasy 1 doesn't really have this strong through line story that you are. It's not like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, where you are totally invested in the characters and their actions within this world. It's more world storyline in Final Fantasy 1.
The pro tag can be whoever you want it to be. The pro tag is you.
That makes more sense.
Which is why it makes it such a good opportunity for that.
Yeah. Now, there's a chance it's not inspired by any past Final Fantasy world, but what do you guys think? I'm curious, actually, now that we're talking about it. If there was a world you could choose from Final Fantasy for there to be a Souls-inspired game within, what world would you choose?
I mean, for me, I think I already knocked it. Well, I already talked about it, but for me, I actually would like more of like a hybrid or a like Crystal Warriors type deal, to where it's more like a crystal overview of the entirety of what Final Fantasy is and whatnot, and you're just kind of like a Kingdom Hearts situation. I'm sorry for making that a little bit easier.
Yeah, where you're traveling between worlds. Yeah,
travel between worlds. It's like you're not really messing with the main narratives there, but like you're kind of in those worlds, so you can like loot, for lack of a better word for this, the Buster Sword, or like materia,
like Gunblade or something like that. Yeah,
and that would be how you could build your characters based off those really cool archetypes from all those other games. A Blitzball, if you wanted to,
right, like imagine that the Nexus is like the Crystal Kingdom or something like that, and it's like Demon Souls, where it's not like this one big world that you're traveling within, like Sekiro or Bloodborne, where it's the Nexus brings you to these 5 different worlds, and one of them is Final Fantasy 1, one of them is 7, one of them is 9, one of them is 10. Because that's the other thing I was going to say. Like, if it's not something like Final Fantasy 1, where I think Final Fantasy 1 kind of fits in with the Souls aesthetic in a way, but if they don't go that direction, I think they should go the exact opposite direction and do something like Spira, where like it's not at all what somebody would expect from a Souls inspired game, because it's like Mediterranean, tropical, but how do you make a Souls inspired game work within that environment? I think could be kind of cool, actually.
Would be very cool.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I think if there was like a world traveling situation where you are a crystal warrior and you are within like the crystal nexus and you can travel between crystals that are represented by the worlds of different games in Final Fantasy, maybe there's 5 of them, that'd be pretty badass.
Yeah,
I think that's like a little too hype. I don't know.
A little bit. Yeah. It's too much, you know.
Yeah. I don't get my hopes that high.
I mean, is it though? I mean, when you look at the Cydia and things like that, they're very similar to that.
And World of Final Fantasy. World of Final Fantasy basically is that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Mike and I even talked about a Games as a Service title before we got the actual confirmation here that it was Souls inspired. So there's plenty of room there, but anyway.
And there could even be co-op. You never know. There could be like
hey, I'd be down for some co-op, to be honest.
Yeah.
Those could be some good streams, Drew.
Yeah, I'm not against it. It's not what I really want necessarily.
Right.
I'd rather it be single player focused, but I'm gonna get this probably no matter what. So if it's co-op, it's co-op. I'll play with one of you guys or something like that. But let's go back to Tom here.
All right, real quick, sticking with the Final Fantasy theme, I am just saying that I think that Final Fantasy 16 will have a playable demo.
Oh my god, that'd be so insane. It'd be so insane.
Released as soon as it's announced as well. Like I really like these are like these are like the fun announcements where like you don't know about it ahead of time that I really love, which is why this is like back to back kind of similar ones for me. This is something that I really hope for, that it'll have that right away you'll get a chance to get your hands on this game in a demo format day of announce.
I think the more likely scenario is actually Forspoken getting a demo. I skipped over that, but I think Forspoken will be at Square Enix's conference because I'm starting to think that Forspoken is coming before 16 for some weird reason. There was a story from, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, Vince?
I think it was 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, that somebody tweeted out that it wasn't like within their fiscal, like there was like fiscal reports that implied that new IPs were going to be this fiscal year, and classic IPs, like big IPs like Final Fantasy, are not happening this fiscal year. So,
and I think just to give some more context, I think what happened there was Endwalker, the same creative business unit, CBU3, is the same internal team at Square Enix that is working on both 14 and 16. And with Endwalker being pushed all the way to November, which is insanity. It's crazy to me. I think that's where we see 16 get pushed out to, past 2022, maybe, to be honest.
I think it'll still be in 2022, but I think it's not going to be this fiscal year. I don't think we get it before April of 2022. Yeah. That would be exciting though. I would love that, Tom, if we got a demo for Final Fantasy 16. I want to see how that thing plays. Yeah, for sure.
I have one last hope and dream here, guys. I changed one because, whatever, who cares about this? This one was something that I think was sitting in my back of my mind. Transmarks has actually kind of said it a little bit, somewhat. But in all honesty, after watching Castlevania seasons 1 through 4 back to back again, I want a damn new Castlevania game from Konami, and I want it to be someone else who does it, not Mercury Steam. I know Lords of Shadow was fun and everything like that, but could you imagine like the Sony Santa Monica team taking on Castlevania with a God of War style presentation?
I do think that it's one of the ones that Konami is outsourcing. I don't know if it's going to be PlayStation again, like Metal Gear Solid, but I do think and Silent Hill. But I do think that we're getting Castlevania.
I'll take a Platinum Castlevania.
Platinum Castlevania or a Santa Monica Castlevania. Like, oh my God, could you imagine it? It would be glorious. So
glorious. All right, my final hope and dream for you guys here. Fumito Ueda will reveal his new IP at the PlayStation conference, the showcase. You guys might be surprised at that because you're like, oh wait, didn't Epic Games like get in a deal with Fumito Ueda? Well, yes, they did, but Epic and Sony are real chum right now. They're real close. More and more investments. Another $200 million, was it? $200 million investment that just recently happened not too long ago. $200 million is the equivalent of like 3 big games. Mm-hmm. I would say 2 like quadruple A games. So that's a big investment right there in Epic. And I do wonder if that allowed them some bargaining power, where like something that's a little bit smaller, in all honesty, something like Fumito Ueda and their Team Ico games, they're kind of niche, a little bit smaller, not quite AAA, I would say, but like sort of skirting that line. Maybe they could get bargaining power for something like that to be on Epic Game Store and PlayStation 5 at the same time, simultaneous release. Now, I do think it's going to be like Team Ico. You're gonna see this and you're gonna say, yeah, that, like right off the bat, like that's a Team Ico game. It's got that aesthetic, it's got that vibe, it's got that atmosphere. The big difference is gonna be this will be the first Team Ico game to finally have you play main character as a young girl, not a young boy. Finally, I think we'll get that. He's kind of been against that. This is one of those things that people have like a problem with. That Fumito Ueda hasn't wanted to tell a story with a girl, and I'm trying to remember what his reasoning is for that, but people have kind of attacked him for that. I do think this will be the first one that he does the girl perspective, which I think would be cool.
It would be cool. Very cool.
And that is my final hope and dream.
Woo.
Unfortunately, we didn't have Mike here for any of this, but
yeah, no, it sucks.
Yeah. I'll be curious to find out what he's looking forward to this E3. He's been of the mindset that like I don't care about E3 anymore, like because he's so with COVID and E3 the past year. I think he's just not at all in that zone. Like I think he's
just been busy as well too. I just don't think he's just had the time to get excited about stuff. Really, to be honest,
I'm excited. This Square Enix stuff that came out recently has me very excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm more curious about Sony at this point. Kind of Ubisoft I don't care as much, which sucks because I used to like them, but as more stuff has come out about that company, it's just been more like this sucks.
I gotcha. Yeah. I mean, Microsoft should have a banger conference, as we said, so that should be exciting.
I hope we don't have to on a show have to react of like how they messed up their E3 conference. I don't want to talk about that show. They should not have to have that. And honestly, I don't think the Xbox fans should have to deal with that. They should have an insane conference.
They really should.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's go to another commercial break. When we come back, we're getting into our seasonal segment. That is a casting call. We're going to answer that call, this time for a God of War movie.
Woo.
Yeah, it can be very exciting. So hold on tight. Trans Marxists. We will be right back. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2 of Next Level Gamescast, the Level Up Network's monthly gaming talk show live on Twitch at twitch.tv/levelupshow on the third Sunday of every month. I'm out of breath. I just ran upstairs, shut the garage because I forgot I left it open. Came back here, so that's why I'm out of breath. But welcome back, everybody. Make sure you never miss an episode. Hit that heart button and turn on notifications so you get alerts whenever we go live with variety gaming and talk shows. Don't forget to follow here, just here. Remember to follow as well on Vince and Tom's channel, their respective channels. Type in !Vince in chat or !Tom in chat to get those links. Support those that support us. Great streamers.
Thanks.
One more often than I am at this point. Please. And also, of course, we are on YouTube. You can go to there, youtube.com/levelupnetwork. Hit that subscribe button. You can go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify because we are podcasting these things now. And I will say, let me actually point to that for a second here. We have not seen any growth with our podcast. Man. If anything, we've seen just decline on our podcast. This has been the case every time we've tried it. In all honesty, it just never works. But we're giving it the full year. We're trying our best to see if we're
trying our best.
Get some traction. Get some people listening to the podcast that don't even watch the show. And the only way to make that happen is for the people that do watch this show. To try and get in there, hit that follow button, listen to episodes, get the numbers up. Maybe it'll start showing up on other people's lists, and maybe we can get some traction on our podcast. So at least go on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, search for the Level Up Network, search for Next Level Gamescast, and at least follow it. I don't know if that'll help. I'm not sure what the rules are when it comes to podcasts and how it gets spread around. And if you want to go above and beyond, you guys can share it yourself. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Next Level Gamescast.
Tell your friends.
We got our Discord as well, of course, discord.gg/levelupnetwork. Get on there, become a part of the community, even when we are not live. And just a quick reminder, Vince said it during commercial break there, but we do have after show still a possibility tonight. We've got about 40 minutes left in the show, so plenty of time to get those tips in. $30 in tips total. Would be 30 minutes after show talking with you guys, listening to some music, just hanging out. And if we get $60, we will do a full hour, Vince and I, of after show. Maybe we can talk more about that Final Fantasy Souls inspired game, because I could go on and on, man.
Well, considering we called out Final Fantasy VII Remake's battle system before that game was even shown.
We nailed it.
We did that. We nailed it.
Right now, though, we are going to move on to our seasonal segment. Last month, we did a casting call, answered that casting call for Metal Gear Solid. This month, we are going to answer a casting call for God of War. And we're going to be doing 2018's God of War, specifically. So we've got about 10 or so characters that we're going to go through. We're, of course, going to start off with our hero, anti-hero, maybe. I think in the 2018, we're definitely getting more towards a hero Kratos, a redemption Kratos. Now, here's the funny thing. This was the last one I actually tried to cast because I feel like it's the most difficult one.
It is.
I don't know who you go with. Like, do you try and get somebody that actually is like huge and muscular, or do you try and think outside the box and go with somebody that would have to get really jacked and in shape to fit the role, but might really work with it from every other aspect, even without that, you know? Because everybody's going to go to Dave Bautista, Dwayne Johnson, Jason Momoa, Christopher Judge, who actually plays the character in the game. Those are obvious ones, but I gotta say, I don't know that any of those guys are the right fit.
It's weird because, you know, what's funny is actually Jason Momoa is sticking out to me. I just think it's almost, he's a little too young for this role.
2018's. Let's take a look. How old is Jason Momoa? He is the one I agree with. Probably the one I go with, actually.
And you know what's actually funny, Drew? It's like, I know I don't watch
He's 41. That's not that young.
It's actually not that young. Okay, so...
He's 6'4". Damn, wow.
I mean, but that's the thing. His physical presence, especially, like, I think in Game of Thrones, I was kind of like, I can see him pulling off that smoldering Kratos. I could see him actually nailing that. Not the Aquaman funny Jason Momoa.
Yeah. I
could see Jason Momoa actually doing a good part with this. The thing was, like, with Dave could bring the dramatism into it for sure. I don't know how else he would kind of fit with it, to be honest, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And Dave Bautista might be he's pretty up there. I think you might want to go with a younger guy so that you have like a franchise future, right? Dave Bautista, let's see. Dave Bautista is 52.
Yeah.
About 11 years older than Jason Momoa. Momoa also has that star power, and we talked about this off stream, but I do think that when you have the main character in a franchise like this, you do have to have a little bit of star power. You don't want to go with a complete unknown. And I mean, Jason Momoa, he's very well known at this point for Aquaman and even for Khal Drogo and in Game of Thrones. I do think they has that star power. It's enough there. Tom, what do you think?
Honestly, look, it's hard for me to go beyond the obvious for
Judge.
I think it's Judge. The only other person that I would think you would go with is Batista, because if anybody has watched Batista in the ring delivering promos, the dude knows how to do rage.
Yeah,
he knows how to do rage, and he knows how to do quiet rage. So I would definitely Batista. And honestly, have either of you guys saw the new movie that he's in with Zack Snyder?
I did not see Army of Dead
yet.
I
haven't seen it yet,
he's very good in Army of Dead. I would you know what, I was saying this in our meeting. I was leaning toward Christopher Judge, but I think Dave gives a very good opportunity for that.
Mike might have just joined us. Yeah, he did. Mike's here.
Hi, Mike.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Actually, just came on to jump on real quick. I am dead. I have three things. I hate putting in flooring. I hate contractors who do big condo buildings that don't know how to follow guidelines and set standards and consistency.
Of course.
And I really, really, really loathe cable management.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for stopping in and let us know. Mike, who should play Kratos?
You know what? I was actually my whole thing with this is because I was still mad that we weren't doing Overwatch. So I was just gonna say Ethan Hawke for every single person.
Got it.
Wow.
Ethan
Got
Hawke.
it.
There you go.
Thanks, buddy.
There we go.
You're doing great.
That's exactly why we hate Overwatch. Thank you.
Crushing it, Mike.
Glad I could contribute.
Love you, bud.
See ya.
See ya.
He's the worst. So this is Christopher Judge. Let me put it up on screen for you guys here. I need to see him with a beard. It's tough.
Stargate SG-1 fame.
Yeah, it's tough. I need to see him with the beard. He's definitely got the voice, obviously, and he's imposing physically. I'll give him that, but nobody knows this guy really outside of Stargate. I don't know. And the thing is, like, I don't think Jason Momoa is the right fit either, honestly, because like he doesn't have the demeanor really necessarily that I think Kratos has. Let's go back to this one. I really don't know yet. I'm gonna skip forward. Let's because I feel like a lot of the other ones are a lot easier, honestly, than this one. Let's move on to our next casting call for Atreus. I got one that I really want to go for here. Now, first off, Sonny Soljic played Kratos or Atreus in the game, and I think he's great. He's a great young actor. He was in that skateboard movie directed by Jonah Hill. Oh my God, what was it called? Anybody remember what that was called? 90s? Mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
Which, you know, he's good. He's a good young actor, and he looks the part, obviously, because he is the likeness for Atreus. But one that I really think is a great young actor right now, and truly is a young actor. He's not quite as young as maybe Atreus is supposed to be. His name is Noah Jupe, and he's from Honey Boy and A Quiet Place. Let me look him up for you guys here. And he's put out some really strong performances in the films he's been in so far, and I feel like he's showing up in more and more stuff. Here's a good picture of young Noah Jupe. Here we go. Let me put this up. Open in new tab. And full browser. Boom. Noah Jupe. He looks young enough, and I think you could actually even de-age him a little bit, bring him down even younger. I wonder how old he is. But I think he looks the part enough for me, and I'm really just trying to focus more on who is a great young actor. And especially considering, like, we're going to be growing up with this character. This character's going to grow up with us. Like, we're going to see this franchise move towards him being a teenager and a young adult, potentially. You want to go with somebody who's in it for the long haul, who's going to be a great actor as they grow up. You're going to see those chops from the beginning. And I think Noah Jupe has that. He is, let me look at his age here. Anybody in the chat know him? Anybody seen A Quiet Place or Honey Boy?
I'm out of my element here, so I was actually going to go off your guys' recommendations.
He's 16 years old.
Way out of my element here.
So a little bit old. Because Atreus is barely a teenager, right?
But young enough looking that he can get away with it.
Yeah, definitely. If anybody else have any like suggestions on this one? Another one that I have is Jacob Tremblay. He's a great young actor. Jacob
Tremblay is
he was in Room when he was very young.
The one other one that I was looking at was Ian Armitage.
Yes, that's a big one.
Who plays young Sheldon in the show Young Sheldon.
The titular character.
The titular character, young Sheldon, as played by Ian Armitage. Ian himself is 12 years old.
I was actually going to say, I just looked up. Atreus is apparently 11 years old in 2018. Just to have the age there.
So Ian, if they were going to make a film, if they were going to start producing it, you would have Ian probably somewhere around like 13, probably 14 by the time it comes out.
Yeah,
I think you're in like a golden zone right there for him to like actually nail the look of that character. As
now, what makes you think he can pull off Atreus though? Because in young Sheldon, he doesn't at all seem like the character of Atreus to me.
It's not necessarily that I think that he has shown that he can do that character, but it's definitely something that I think that as a young actor who clearly would want to be able to show that he has range, I think that would be something that he would want to be able to try to do in order to get that part.
Okay. Let's let that marinate.
I feel like that would be something that, he's young enough where most people probably won't necessarily even know him from Young Sheldon. They'll just know that he played him.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
You're taking, honestly, with a child actor, you're taking a risk regardless.
Everybody's just choosing Danny DeVito for every character in the chat.
Of course, Danny DeVito.
Of course.
Danny DeVito.
Moving on, let's go to, we'll let that marinate. Let's go to Baldur, the Stranger. Such a great antagonist in God of War 2018, and really the actor who plays him, I'm drawing a blank on the actor's name. He's from Lost, and I almost feel like if he was a little younger still, he could play that character because he's a great actor. But I don't think that's the right choice myself. I have 3 that I put in here. The first one, let me see what you guys think of this. What do you think of James McAvoy
I like it.
for Baldur?
I like it. I think it's weird because I could see James McAvoy doing the like quiet part of Baldur really well, like that whole just like you get the first intro of him, like I can just feel that McAvoy could just kill that scene, right? It's the outburst of anger and like that type of stuff, like near the middle end of the game. I can't quite see. Does that make sense? It's one of those things. I know McAvoy did a good job with Split and everything like that. It's just I don't know. There's like a hang up there for me.
Just to show real quick, this is Jeremy Davies. He's the guy who plays Baldur in the game. Let me put it up on screen. Oh, I must have it on the wrong tab here. Let me just look him up on Young Sheldon. Get out of the way.
Young Sheldon, get out of here.
Get out of here. Jeremy Davies. Jeremy Davies. Oh my god, I can't type with this thing in the way. I can't type with this thing on. My mic is in the way. Makes it hard to type. Jeremy Davies. That is not it. Davies. There we go. Wow, he looks so much different without facial hair. Holy crap. But this is him the way I normally see him here. Oh, that's a really small picture, but still.
Wow.
I feel like if he were bulk up and all, he could definitely pull off Baldur. And of course he has the voice because he played it in the game. But Baldur is the antagonist, right? You probably want to go with somebody with a little more star power. I think that James McAvoy definitely has that.
Mm-hmm.
He has that star power for sure. So you could go with that. We're all thinking Danny works well here too.
Jeez.
But what about Robert Pattinson?
I don't see that. I don't know, Tom. What do you think?
Pattinson, I feel like I need to see Pattinson in the Batman.
Yeah,
and I think I'll get like a better look at him and a better expectation from that. I'm actually, honestly, for Baldur, I know you have another one that you threw out there, Drew, but I'm going to throw another one out there at you. Ewan McGregor.
It's not bad.
It's not a bad choice at all.
The idea of having Ewan McGregor there, I mean, again, this guy, he's played a villain multiple times.
Yep.
And he, I think, has the ability, like, especially from the beginning part of Dr. Sleep, you were able to see him as, like, kind of a drunkish, kind of, not quite oafish, but still very much in way the Stranger kind of, like, lends to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see, and in the menacing form, you saw that a little bit in Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
So I think I really like the idea of Ewan McGregor as the Stranger.
That's not bad, man. That's not bad at all.
The
other one I was going to say is Tom Hardy, but yeah.
It was funny because I was thinking Tom Hardy just because like I just know you could at least do the physical, aspect of the character. But McGregor could actually bring in a little bit more,
All these, I feel like I just want to let them marinate. I want to make a decision yet, but I do like that. I'm gonna keep Ewan McGregor. All right, for Baldur. Let's move on here to our next character. We're gonna go back around at the end and make our final decisions. We got Freya, the Witch of the Woods. Freya. One of the first ones that come to mind was Angelina Jolie.
Throw
her in everything, though. I mean,
it's like that, right? I mean, like I just think she could just totally kill it, but like at the same time, it's like it's Angelina.
You need to have a character that can play both sides. She's obviously is kind and she's motherly and maternal and all that, but she also has this sort of like
wickedness.
There's something deep inside of her, like this wickedness. Like a wicked witch. Which is why Ava Green came to mind as well. You guys know who Ava Green is?
I'm drawing a blank on that, unfortunately.
She was in Casino Royale, for example. She was also
never mind. Yes.
Penny Dreadful.
Yes.
Let me pull her up for anybody in the chat that doesn't know Ava Green.
Yeah. Actually, now that I've actually made that connection, yes.
She's very pretty. And she's played a witch pretty much before. The woman from Shameless. Are you talking about the young actress, the daughter? Yeah, that's not bad. I'm trying to recall her name. I'm trying to find a good picture of Ava Green here to share with you guys.
The thing about like Green I like is the very business-like approach that she could bring to that character. That's where she could bring in like that coldness, but she's also got that. She can do that duality very well.
Is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can do that duality extremely well. She does it great in Penny Dreadful and Casino Royale. I like that choice.
Yeah.
Emma says Angelina isn't motherly. She's problematic. I'll leave it there. In real life, I'm not trying to really like think about them what they're like in real life. I'm just trying to think of like what would they bring to performance. And you know, right now there's actually a film that came out recently with Angelina Jolie protecting this young child during a firestorm. And
Those Who Want Me Dead.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
so that's
Those Who Want Me Dead.
Yeah, that's kind of an example of her sort of taking care of a child. Another example of that, I guess you could say. But yeah, I agree. I don't think Angelina Jolie is the right choice. I would either go with Ava Green or my third option that I was thinking. What about Evangeline Lilly? Pause this. Kate from Lost, also part of the MCU, of course.
Yeah, I only really know her from the MCU and also as
The Hobbit.
Yeah.
She was an elf,
what's her name? What was her name?
I forget.
I forget too.
Wow, Steve, I think he didn't say it after I said it. I think we said it at the same time. He said Evangeline Lilly as well in chat. Yeah, Evangeline Lilly, I think could do very well with that role. She can pull off coldness.
She can.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of between those two. But does anybody else have like another suggestion besides those two?
What about you,
No,
Tom?
I was thinking Eva Green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something about Eva Green just feels right there. Like, I know I didn't put that connection there at first, but like, I don't know, something sits well with that.
Carlo Gugino is not a bad choice, Phalor.
Drew, if you're comfortable with it, I think we can call Eva Green right now for Freya.
Okay, all right. You guys seem pretty good on that one. I was the one who put it in there. So, Eva Green. Yeah. Eva Green for Freya. Okay, I'm down for that. The Witch of the Woods. Let's move on to Mimir. Now, Mimir, like I'm almost trying to like remember God of War. Mimir has like a little bit of a humorous side to him, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of humor there.
Mimir is definitely he's the comedic edge to that. He's
I don't know if I would say he's comedic. I say Brock and Sindri are more the comedic.
Brock and Sindri definitely are, but I do think that I feel like moment to moment, he's the levity that's going to be throughout the majority of that experience for you.
Mm-hmm. The first one that came to mind, but this doesn't really necessarily tackle the comedic side because I don't know this actor's comedic chops, but Liam Cunningham, he played Davos in Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
He definitely has that vibe where he could do like the narration stuff perfectly, right? Like telling all the lore and the stories. Like Liam Cunningham could nail that side of it. I think the question is, can he pull off the more comedic aspect?
The quirkiness.
The quirkiness, yeah, of Mimir. I haven't seen him in that much, in all honesty.
No, me neither.
I really am just thinking of Game of Thrones for that. Wow, was he John Reno? Holy shit! Wait, what? Like, is that the actor? The same actor? That can't be right. Is that the same actor? John Reno? No, John Reno's somebody else, right? Holy crap! They do look a lot alike. Holy crap! John Reno and Cunningham are two different actors, but man, do they look alike. That's crazy. I just saw that comparison.
I never thought of having him with John Reno, but I guess so.
Is Renault, not Reno? Renault?
John Reno, yeah. Frenchman,
yeah. For a second there, I was like, wait, are they the same person? Because I saw them two side by side. That is a doppelganger right there. Holy crap. Okay, but the other ones I see on the list, I see one was added too. The other one I was saying was David Tennant. David Tennant is definitely a good comedic actor as well.
And if you remember him from what's her name? One of the Marvel shows. He played.
Jessica Jones. Yeah,
Jessica Jones. If you remember him from Jessica Jones, he definitely played that role well. He also played sort of what Mimir would be, even when he was Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's just like kind of a know-it-all guy who like knows enough to like kind of like give you the exposition that you need to like understand the world.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
he's not a bad choice.
But I threw in the end there Jeremy Irons.
You like throwing in Jeremy Irons.
I do like finding ways to get Jeremy Irons work.
I do like Jeremy Irons.
But you look at him playing as Alfred, and he's very much like that kind of character.
Yeah, I agree with that. He has some comedic moments as well. His delivery, in the Snyderverse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I don't know which one I like more though. Like they're all evenly kind of decently split for me.
Yeah. I'll let it marinate.
I don't want to let anything marinate. I want to make decisions. I want to make decisive decisions here, Drew. But yeah, we can let it marinate. It's fine.
For a moment. Next up, let's go to Brock and Sindri. So I kept thinking of comedic duos with this one. So the first thing that came to mind was Key and Peele, which is very comedic. The next one would be Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
I love that. I'm sorry. I love that right now. That'd be perfect.
Another one that I think would be really good for Brock is Andy Serkis. And I've seen Elijah Wood thrown around for Sindri, and I think those two together could be really interesting. Bring the Lord of the Rings team back together. Get Andy Serkis and Elijah Wood. It would be a young Sindri, though. Sindri looks a lot older than Elijah Wood, but it would be an interesting combo there. And the last one is Peter Dinklage for Brock, but I'm wondering who would go well with Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
He plays both of them.
Plays both of them, but two different personalities.
Andy Serkis and Peter Dinklage is not bad, yeah.
That's not a bad one either.
I guess Andy Serkis would do Sindri, and Brock would be Peter Dinklage.
But for a movie version, if you wanted to go full comedy, then I would think you would want to go Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
That's what I was gonna say.
Do we want to go full comedy? Is that?
If you want to go,
I feel like you do need a comedic presence in this movie.
I mean, that's really all they kind of are in the game, other than a couple exposition dumps a little bit and some, side story stuff. That's what they're kind of there for.
And you're not really they don't serve the same purpose as in the video game where you're going to them as the store. They're not the store for you. So in the movie they have to give you something. Yeah. And it's inevitably going to likely be
just comedic
comedy.
Yeah, relief. Right.
Yeah.
Just these two guys who just keep popping up around the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're going that direction, I think Nick Frost and Simon Pegg is the one to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
we doing this? We calling Nick Frost and Simon Pegg as Brock and Sindri?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. Who plays Athena? So Athena was not one that I put on my list here, but I'm going to say right now, I'm going to say Ana de Armas for Athena.
Okay.
She's from Knives Out.
Fair.
That's just that's not on our list here, actually. But we do have Zeus.
We do.
Going back to past mythology, God of War. We're gonna talk about Zeus right now. What do you guys think? The only one I have on my list is Liam Neeson as Zeus.
Yeah, I mean, Clash of Titans. Yeah.
Yep. He's done it before.
Yeah.
And he did it well.
He did it well.
He can play asshole really well.
Very well.
He can be an asshole for sure. So I feel like, Zeus is quintessential asshole.
Oh my god.
I mean, Zeus potentially, you could also have him be Christopher Judge if you don't go the other way.
Okay.
I could see that.
I don't see that for Zeus. I see Zeus being older looking, but also still they need to somehow make him physically imposing too, and you'd have to try and do that with Liam Neeson. But I do think he needs to have that physical presence.
What about Gerard Butler?
It's not bad.
It's not bad, right? It's not bad. Gerard
Butler's not bad for this choice.
Would you go if you want? Oh, go ahead.
Tom.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tom, go ahead. Go, Tom.
I was gonna say, if you wanted to stick with the Game of Thrones look, would you consider Nikolaj Coster-Waldau? I believe
he does asshole really well.
Yeah.
That's not bad actually. Be a young Zeus.
What about Sean Bean?
Do we really want Kratos
Sean Bean? Yeah, we could do Sean Bean.
Sean Bean, he's already dead.
Do you want what's the age discrepancy between Kratos and Zeus? Like Zeus has got to be older looking, right?
Well, he's got to be older looking, but when you're a god, it doesn't really matter at that point.
I guess not.
Like, you need to look probably like somewhere in your 40s or your 50s.
Zeus is the mob boss from John Wick.
Well, which one are you talking about, Transmars? So are you talking about shenanigans? Because the actor for the Russian mob boss is dead. He died of a heart attack, I believe.
In real life, you mean?
Yeah, in real life. He died of a heart attack, unfortunately, if I remember correctly. Who's the actor that plays that? He plays the bar owner in Deadwood. Shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That's gonna drive me crazy. He's a
sure
fantastic actor.
Emma will
You're gonna have to look it up, Vince.
Yeah. What about Jormungandr? If I'm even saying that right.
Ian McShane.
Oh, Ian McShane. Yeah.
Ian McShane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got no problem with that.
I have no problem with that as Zeus.
Let me put that on the list here for a sec. Ian McShane. I'm going to pull that up on the side too. I want to look at this guy. But what about the voice of the World Serpent, Jormungandr?
Oh, I thought you were going even for the voice of Jormungandr. I was going to say Ian McShane as well.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
What about exactly. Well. That's the first thing
that does that shit well.
Comes to mind is Benedict Cumberbatch. He has that deep voice. What if you did like Ralph Fiennes? He's a serpent, right? In Harry Potter.
He could do it. I mean, he did Death in Darksiders 2, and it was a really great performance.
Ralph Fiennes did?
Yeah, in Darksiders 2, that's who voices Death.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really freaking good.
So we got Benedict Cumberbatch, Botch, however you say it, and we've got potentially Ralph Fiennes as the World Serpent.
See, the thing for me with Benedict already is like we have Smaug from The Hobbit, and so like I can kind of already feel he'd already just pull that all off, especially if you throw it into like a foreign language. He's gonna nail it.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch would nail it. You definitely. I'm trying to remember, in the game, does he speak a language that we can understand?
No, he does not.
So we would have to twist that.
Atreus translates that for us.
Yeah, I thought so. So we would have to twist that. I do think that we should just give him an English voice. Didn't you have one, Tom?
Gosh, I had somebody.
It was kind of like a more comedic actor, actually.
Yeah, I was saying you go a different way with it when we were originally talking about this.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't remember what I said in the meeting. But let's not dwell on it too much.
Yeah.
Chat always makes better casts. How dare you, Emma?
Yeah, I don't get that.
I'm leaning towards Benedict Cumberbatch, honestly. I feel like it's a safe pick, but
it's a safe pick, but you know
so well already.
Right. It's just it's quality right then and there, and you can do whatever you want with him, and he's going to perform how you want him to.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards that. I think. Let me just say, I'm going to do this real quick. I think Odin should be Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes. No. Done with it. I'm good with
it. Mads Mikkelsen. Done. And I don't know about Thor, but
I mean, if you want to say even for that, I mean, Ian McShane was actually did play Odin in American Gods.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not watch American Gods, so I did not realize that.
I got to pull up Ian McShane now.
Yeah.
I think you'll recognize in the moment you see him.
Oh,
yeah, you'll be like, oh, it's that guy.
It's that guy. Yeah, from Deadwood. Yeah, I know him. I'm just trying to picture him as. Yeah. Okay. He'd be a good Zeus.
Good Zeus or good.
Yeah, he would be a good Zeus.
Or could you actually even? Nah, that's a stupid idea. Never mind.
I'm kind of vibing on him as Zeus.
He would be able to bring that in there. I mean, yeah.
Pull up this image here.
He's got the presence for it. Especially with the way that they present in Zeus in 2018. Like, really, they don't actually show. Do they show the full body of Zeus, or is it more just the spiritual head? I don't remember.
Think you really see his full body. No.
Right. It's just mostly the face and like the voice yelling at you, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of with it. I'm kind of feeling Ian McShane as Zeus.
Yeah.
If you guys are okay with that.
I'm okay with it. Tom, are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it.
Nice.
There it is.
We made a decision. All right, so we got Ian McShane as Zeus. Let me go back to our list here. Okay, we got Benedict Cumberbatch as the World Serpent. We got Ian McShane as Zeus. We have Nick Frost and Simon Pegg as Brock and Sindri. I think I'm gonna I'm going to say I'm good with Jeremy Irons as Mimir.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from with that, Tom. I think he does have the comedic chops to pull off both sides of Mimir and be a great narrator of the lore of the world.
Yes.
Okay, Jeremy Irons as Mimir. I kind of want to fight for Evangeline Lilly as Freya, but I'll move on.
Coin toss? You want to do a coin toss?
No, you guys were pretty sure on Eva Green. I would personally pick Evangeline Lilly, but I'm okay with it. Eva Green as Freya. Baldur, I'm gonna go with Tom again on this one. It's an inspired choice, Tom.
I like it though.
I think I'm okay with it.
I really think Ewan McGregor works well.
Let him marinate.
Once he grows that beard, I mean, when you think about him as Obi-Wan,
like I think he's got to get like cut. And I know, like I hate to like say that, but you got not be bulky though. Like the thing about Baldur is he's sculpted, right? He's he's that lean, muscular. And I think if you get Ewan McGregor that way, where his face becomes a little bit more gaunt, he's got that facial hair, he's got that real toned cut body, he would pull off Baldur really well. Yeah, definitely. I see it. All right, Atreus. If you guys are okay with it, I do think it should be Noah Jupe myself, because I'm looking more like the future. We're going to see this character grow up in the next God of War. He might even be 18 years old. Who knows? I'm looking at this kid, this Ian Armitage. I don't see it. I just don't see it for Atreus. I don't see that anger inside of him. That I feel like you need to sense that within Atreus, like that he's got this potential to really go bad in the same way Kratos did. Like he could ultimately come to be the murderer of his own father. Like I think that's a definite possibility. He has that anger within him. It's sort of born into him. And I think you need to see that. And I think Noah Jupe has that. I've seen his anger in the performances so far that he's played, and he's played that angry child, that immature angry child so well. And that's more what I'm looking towards than anything else. I think Ian Jupe should be the kid.
I think I'm down for that.
Check out his performances, specifically Honey Boy and Quiet Place 2. He's really good in both those movies. And there's another one too that's on the tip of my tongue, but he's a really promising young actor. And then the tough one, man. I don't know. I got nothing for Kratos, man. I really don't. I want to like figure out somebody that it's like, if this guy bulked up, he'd be perfect for it.
Nah, Big Dave. Big Dave, I think, is the right choice here.
Let me pull up Dave Bautista. Hold on a sec. This is it. This is the one. This is the star, man. Let me pull. The problem with Dave Bautista is I always see him as, like the guy, Drax, or his wrestling persona with like the eyebrows and like I don't know. It's kind of. Let me pull him up in Army of the Dead.
I liked him in Blade Runner.
If you look, if you
I agree with that.
If you just pull up Dave Bautista Kratos, there are some mock-ups.
Okay, let me do that. Dave Bautista Kratos
was in Gears of War.
I want to see him as 2018 Kratos though. A lot of old Greek mythology Kratos, I'm saying.
Right, but you can picture him with a longer beard.
Yeah. Here, let me pull this one. It's not really great, but open a new tab. Let me pull this up here. Full browser. Oh, God, I put it on the wrong one again. Copy paste that link. Here we go. There we go. There you go. Okay. Yeah, you definitely use that beard. I think if you fill it in with the beard, that changes everything. Yeah. It's tough to imagine Kratos without the beard.
Mm-hmm.
But when you add that onto him, big burly beard, let's see it.
A great big bushy beard.
Great big bushy beard.
Bushy beard.
Yeah, and that's the one I keep looking back to, Vince, is his performance in Blade Runner 2049.
It's a standout, right?
Yeah, that shows me that he can pull off something a little bit more dramatic. Drax is very comedic, in my opinion. He has some drama within the MCU, but Blade Runner was the first time I've seen him try and handle something a little bit more somber and dramatic and understated.
Never seen a miracle. That line's so good.
and he can pull off the anger. He can do Spartan Rage.
Can.
Yeah, he's probably the one, isn't he?
Definitely, boy.
So it's Drax, and that's why they won't pick him. Yeah, we're trying not to keep that in mind. This is fan casting. They probably wouldn't pick him because he is Drax. You're right. But
he's saying that he's going to be done. He's done after the next Guardians movie.
Yep, after Volume 3.
Oh, really? Did he say that?
Yeah, he's
on
really
his way
hinted
out.
that he's done, because a part of the issue that he has with Guardians is the fact that he says that they don't really have anything for his character to do, and because I mean, both his family has essentially been avenged. Thanos is dead, so there's nothing for him. There's no direction for his character at this point. He's just there, and he's like, well, if that's all I'm going to be here for, then you might as well just kill me off or have me go off and do something else.
We're calling it. Dave Bautista.
Alrighty,
Let's go down the list. This is our casting call for God of War 2018. Kratos, or I should say, Dave Bautista is Kratos. Noah Jupe is Atreus. Ewan McGregor is Baldur. Ava Green is Freya. Jeremy Irons is Mimir. Nick Frost and Simon Pegg is Brock and Sindri. I'm a big fan of that one.
That's a good one.
We've got Ian McShane as Zeus, a very small role, I might add.
Yeah.
He's very small, but Ian McShane as Zeus. Benedict Cumberbatch as the voice of the World Serpent, however you say it, Jormungandr. And just a quick one, Mads Mikkelsen will be Odin.
Yep, there we go. Good job, everyone.
Amazing cast right there. It's a tough one, I have to say. Now that we went through it, God of War is a tough one to cast.
It was.
Specifically Kratos. That is tough. And I can almost guarantee you, if we do get a God of War live action someday, they're going to go with somebody that nobody's going to expect.
Yep.
For Kratos. It's like, what? That makes no sense to me. And it's like, and then they're going to shave his head. He's going to get the beard. And he's going to bulk up. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do. Because they're going to think outside the box more than we are, I think. On somebody like that. But Dave Bautista is not a bad choice. Transmarxus agrees. It is a very nice cast.
Good. There we go.
I'm glad you agree. We did it, you guys. Somebody agrees with us. He said he doesn't want to do shirtless roles anymore. Oh, wow. Well, who cares? We'll show him the money.
He'll do it for Kratos.
Yeah, we'll show him the money.
He'll give in. He can wear some armor. It'll all be good.
That's true. He could. He has armor in the game. Just his traditional look, his default look isn't that. Let's move on to our speed run, guys. We have 16 stories, and we're going to try to accomplish this at the most 24 minutes. Moving on first in our speed run. I'm not even going to do the animation. WB Interactive to be affected
News Roundup.
by Warner Media Discovery merger. So this was a big deal this past week. W Games is getting broken up somehow due to AT&T's Warner Media Discovery sale merger. That came from Steven Totillo. He said, quote, some of the gaming arm will stay with AT&T and some will go with a new company. No further info. WB Games lists 11 studios, games for all kinds of IP and devices. Do we think we might see one of these IPs get split off or something like that? Where it's just like one or two or something like that?
I think I mentioned this in the meeting. I have a hard time thinking that AT&T is interested in having any game studios that are not specifically related to mobile. So I would think that the Discovery games are likely the Discovery will likely get access to NetherRealm Studios, like all those other ones. Likely will go over to that side. I don't think that we're going to see any sort of breaking up or any sort of danger with any of those games, studios, or anything else getting broken up that are necessarily needed for the games that are listed coming out. It's just another bad story, unfortunately, for a year that was supposed to be about WB Games.
Right. It came at a really, really bad time for sure.
Yeah.
With Harry Potter on the horizon, Lego stuff. Yeah, definitely. Gotham Knight. Yeah, and the other one too, Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Moving on from that, CD Projekt Red bonuses have been discussed this past month. Jason Schreier wrote with Bloomberg about this and really went hard on it, actually. He talked about how, originally the story was that there was a certain allotment of money that was going to be divvied up among everybody, and the assumption was, it's going to be divvied up evenly where everybody gets $50,000. Well, no, that's not the way it works. If you have 24 million or $6.3 million is what it was, 4.2 million of that went to upper management, is what I'm understanding.
Jesus.
Leaving only 2.1 million to get spread out between everybody else. So then what you're really ending up with is a lot of these employees getting $5,000 to $9,000 bonuses, as opposed to the $50,000 bonuses that were originally discussed. And on top of that, the bonuses were lowered because the game didn't sell as well as it was supposed to, because of upper management forcing this game out earlier than it should have. The game is still not on the PlayStation Store.
Just so insane.
It sold 13 million units, and that seems like crazy, right? But really, it sounds like, from what I understand, this probably should have been more like 20 million units sold on Cyberpunk 2077, if not more. So this is actually underperforming at 13 million units.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And who's suffering are the developers that crunched on this for how long? Really, it's kind of amazing to see the fall from grace that this was.
Yeah, considering all the hype that was around it, and now it's not even a laughing stock anymore. Now it's just like one of the greatest disappointments in recent memory.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, nobody's talking about the game anymore.
That's the thing that kills me. No one's talking about it for such a memorable game.
Yeah, like this game that was built up for 9 years.
Witcher was all over the place. You couldn't get away from Witcher. Exactly. Yeah. And again, let me be clear here. We are not bashing the people who enjoyed or really appreciated this game. That's not what we're bashing right now. We're just bashing on the overall messaging of what this is. If you really love this game, that is fantastic. Just so we're clear here. No hitting.
Right, and this game might have a second life for sure.
Right.
And next year they might release like the definitive edition that fixes all this crap and gets listed on PlayStation Store and all that, and suddenly it's back in the zeitgeist and hearts and minds, and maybe it's talked about. We'll have to wait until next year to see if they can course correct. But as of right now, it's kind of crazy that nobody's talking about it. Everything is just negative from a PR perspective. Pretty crazy. IO Interactive is prototyping an Xbox exclusive Dragon game. Windows Central writes, a few months ago, I received information that Microsoft and IO Interactive were in talks for a new fantasy RPG dubbed Project Dragon. It's like unbelievably early in development. It's like a connected world RPG, it says. The first thing that came to mind was Scalebound. It was almost like they took Scalebound IP and it was like, hey, IO, you want to take a shot at it? But I doubt that's the case. But something to keep in mind at IO Interactive working closely with Microsoft.
Yeah. And also doing James Bond at the same time, too.
Yeah. How to Train Your Dragon, the RPG. Let's do it.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it.
Love that franchise. But good for them. I'm really happy for IO Interactive and the success
they're killing it.
Yeah. Alien Isolation 2 is in early development. This is a rumor here.
Yes.
Supposedly, we got this covered rights that Disney is reportedly in very early stages of getting Alien Isolation 2 off the ground. We're talking like pre-production conceptual stuff here. Like, it's not greenlit yet. They're trying to greenlight it. But the news is that, hey, it's possible we might get another Alien Isolation after the first one did not perform near as well as they wanted it to.
Thanks, IGN.
Oh, right. What did they give it again? A 6?
No, they gave it a 5.5.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Even lower.
Yeah.
It was it's another in a long line of really bad IGN takes.
Yeah,
really bad.
I didn't love the game, I will say. I probably would give it a 7.5. I probably would have given the first half an 8.5. But I do think the second half really dragged on that one and really took it down. And I also had a really unfortunate situation at the end of the game with a bug. So that also hurt it. But yeah, I would totally welcome a second Alien Isolation.
Oh my God, I would kill for a second Alien Isolation.
Starfield will not be on PS5, you guys. According to Venture Beat, are you shocked?
No, that's something I think most people who are paying attention are kind of already expected this.
Yeah, 100%. We've been calling it for a while. Jeff Grubb writes, Microsoft has no plans to release Bethesda's upcoming space role-playing adventure Starfield on Sony's competing PlayStation 5 console. That shouldn't surprise too many people after Xbox boss Phil Spencer said in March that Microsoft acquired Bethesda to add exclusives to Xbox Game Pass, but I've separately confirmed that this situation applies to Starfield through sources familiar with the decision. And he doesn't know for sure, but he says, I would predict that Xbox would make this call for Elder Scrolls 6 and beyond as well, meaning Fallout and anything else. The thing that Jeff Grubb originally reported was that it was going to come out this year. Turns out that doesn't seem to be the case. Like everybody's coming out, even himself now is agreeing that this game is further away than people are expecting. Jason Schreier specifically saying that it might be like a late 2022 game even.
That's so insane to me.
Yeah. But the rumors we talked about last month, if you guys remember, one of our speedruns was that Microsoft really wants this game out this year. So
I mean, here's my thing. If this game comes out this year, I'm expecting a worse launch than Fallout 76.
Maybe.
No, without a doubt.
Microsoft cannot have that right now. Their first
technical launch. Let me be clear here. I'm sorry. Not sales, not any of that stuff. I'm talking about a technical launch. I think that will be.
They cannot even have that. They cannot even have that. This is the first game that will release after the Bethesda acquisition. It's got to be great in every way. It cannot be buggy. This is Microsoft showing the fruits of that acquisition. They need to do it right. So if it means 2022 late, then okay. We got another rumor here, but getting more and more, credence laid to it. NetherRealm might be working on a Marvel fighting game. PlayStation Lifestyle writes, either he's an insufferable tease or he's an S-tier troll. But one of the Ed Boon latest tweets is adding fuel to the fire. He's been tweeting like teases for a while now, but the most recent one is especially egregious. He tweeted, "Wow, at James Gunn has managed to work on DC and Marvel movies. That's impressive, think face."
Let's put this out of the way right now. Ed Boon is a liar. He is one of the greatest liars in video games, and I love him for it. He is like, never believe a thing that comes out of Ed Boon's mouth. That being said, I would be super hyped for a NetherRealm DC versus Marvel video game.
I think it's just going to be Marvel myself. I think they're going to do what they did with Injustice and do it for Marvel.
I would love DC. Give me Amalgam. That's all I really want. Just give me Amalgam universe video game.
Yeah.
Did they confirm it's the same old engine as the other, Bethesda's? I think it is an updated engine, isn't it?
They're making a new engine for 6, right?
No.
For Elder Scrolls?
No. They're using the same engine. They keep updating it. So what they've been acting now has been like doing this whole thing saying like, oh yeah, we're making a new engine. Now, there was a leak that came out from Reddit. I'm not gonna take this up too much. That they have improved their animation tree. They can now use actually ladders in the game for Starfield, stuff like that. They've worked on the engine to where it's new. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they've said that before.
They've said that before to the point where like I won't believe that until I see the next creative engine update, the Create engine update on Steam, where it's like, oh yeah, no, this is new. You know what I'm saying?
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
But we got to keep going. PlayStation has registered Sunset Overdrive trademark. Speaking with GQ, Smith was asked, this is with Insomniac, asked if it was possible to make a new Sunset Overdrive. He said, I mean, never say never is my approach. Obviously, we're part of Sony now, but we own the IP, and so there's nothing really stopping us other than we have a lot of really exciting things in our future. Smith directed Sunset Overdrive. He's now directing Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Also made clear that he'd like to try his hand at a sequel. I think there are a lot of stories that can be told in that universe, and I would love to return to it. I had a lot of fun making that game. So it's a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen myself. I think they'll let that one go, but good to know that it could happen. Fable will run on Forza Tech. Speaking of engines, WCCF Tech writes a new software engineer job listing posted a few hours ago, or now a week ago, by Turn 10 on LinkedIn does reveal that the game is being made with the Forza Tech engine. That, of course, used by Playground Games with Forza Horizon and all those. So they're clearly going to have to adapt this engine for an RPG. But those are, amazing looking games, right? So I don't know. Sounds promising.
It's the weather tech of Forza Tech that could be a very interesting component, especially considering the rumors of this Fable reboot it's a games as a service. We'll just leave it at that. We don't know what type of aspect it is, but it's going to be an evolving
Mike's
world.
Favorite thing.
Well, and that's the thing too. It would be my favorite thing as well, because the cool thing about this weather tech is you could actually have seasons to where like it could be spring, fall, winter, summer, like that type of stuff. And that would be a really cool new take for something like that.
Make that world feel alive and real. Yeah, for sure. That's something that Fable needs. Former Halo Infinite developer discusses game and crunch within the studio. Windows Central writes, Lynn, who was the now ex-developer, overall feeling on Halo Infinite is that, quote, the finished product will still be great, noting that massive improvements have been made to both the story and the gameplay. However, he comments that players shouldn't expect an epic-making masterpiece. He then expands on this by lamenting that the company's executives were over-ambitious, and that because of the game's semi-open world focus, the game and the engine had to be worked on at the same time, resulting in a rocky development process. Lynn then talked about how some of the concepts and content that were originally part of Halo Infinite have been cut during development. I feel like we don't even need to talk about that because that's every game ever.
That's every game ever.
Yeah, so that's almost like a non-story. But he did indicate at the end of that there was some crunch, that they were working weekends and long hours and things like that. So once again, sort of par for the course, but not necessarily a good thing. But some crunch at 343 Industries, and also trying to set expectations a little bit for Halo Infinite.
God, I hope that game is even just somewhat good.
I think it's going to be good. At the least good.
There's so much bad will going around it, and I feel for everybody over at 343 because it just seems like this entire game is just cursed.
Here's the thing, just really quickly. If the story rewrites are true, that's the biggest positive we can get. Because if the 4chan leak of the story was true, which I actually do think it was true, you have no idea the shitstorm that people were going to rain down upon this.
You're gonna have to send me a copy of that thread or give me a rundown of that, Vince, because I don't remember seeing it. But I'm not gonna ask you to go through it all.
It's 4chan, so grain of salt, right?
Grain of salt, but yeah.
But everything that they said, then 3 months later, was in the Infinite reveal somewhat. It was just like, ooh. That is way too close to the mark. So I'll send you guys a copy.
Yeah, please do. Moving on, Lost Judgment has been announced, the sequel to Judgment, and it is now becoming the action-focused series. The team also works on Yakuza, but Yakuza recently made a shift towards turn-based RPG with, what was it called? Like a Dragon?
Like a Dragon, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so they've kind of made a decision here that moving forward, Judgment will be the action series and Yakuza will be the turn-based RPG series.
Yeah, look,
I think it's kind of cool that they're doing turn-based, honestly.
Yeah, if you're not going to go back to Kiryu, then sure, do it.
Yeah, I like it. I need to play Judgment someday.
Hosokawa said, the Yakuza series has been transformed into a turn-based RPG. On the other hand, over the years, Ryo ga Koduka, I don't know how to say it, studio has accumulated resources and know-how of making flashy and exhilarating action games that are effortless to enjoy. We decided that we should let our signature action gameplay live on through Lost Judgment. So pretty cool. Moving on from that, PlayStation 5 shortages will continue into 2022.
Juice.
And there is a redesign on the way, supposedly. Forbes writes, I don't think demand is calming down this year, and even if we secure a lot more devices and produce more units of the PlayStation 5 next year, our supply wouldn't be able to catch up with demand. That is Hiroki Totoki from Sony telling analysts. And that's the thing, is it seems like they're not producing a lot, but they are. They're producing a pretty good amount, and they're just selling out all of them. It's just they cannot meet demand. I do think the last 2 months have shown that production has been a little bit low, though. So we'll have to see how that goes. The semiconductor stuff is really hurting them. And then the redesign, from what I understand, it seems to be just like a chip redesign, Vince.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be it's a bigger manufacturing process. I'm sorry, because the 7mm factoring. Oh God, am I doing that right? I might be wrong there. I'm sorry. I just know they're stepping up because right now the fabrication process they're doing right now, they cannot do the demand for it. So they're going to go back to a little bit of a bigger one. So the console might have like a teeny bit of a size increase, but I don't think we're going to get we're not getting the slim. Yeah, if that's what everyone thinks.
Oh,
we're not getting that.
We're not
getting that. It's just there to make it to where they can do like almost 2 different models at the same time and still kind of output more. They're going to have a bigger fabrication process and the regular fabrication process for right now. That's what I understand.
Good night to Rose in the chat. Moving on, Microsoft planned to lower cut to 12% for Xbox games. Kotaku writes, according to internal documents filed in the ongoing Epic Games versus Apple case, Microsoft has plans to reduce its cut on digital downloads on the Xbox console store from 30% to 12%. This was eventually updated because Microsoft sent a follow-up statement to Verge saying we will not be updating the revenue split for console publishers. So it seems like it was something that was in planning maybe at one point. I bet you something that Phil Spencer really wanted. And this is what I keep saying. Like, Phil Spencer has like access to all this war chest, and he's just trying to figure out how to use the money. And I think this was one of those where it's more about how much money are we willing to lose in order to really stick a nail in the coffin to Sony, because this really would have hurt everybody else badly if Microsoft had that, being able to say, hey, teams that were trying to get exclusive on Game Pass, hey, teams that were trying to get just 100% exclusive, you're going to make this X more dollars because we only take a 12% cut. Sony takes 30%. Like, that would have been huge and something that Sony would have never been able to match. They just can't. It's impossible for them. Yeah. But even Microsoft wasn't able to do it, turns out, in the end. At least if that follow-up statement is to be believed.
Man, those Apple Epic court documents, huh?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Here's a good one, you guys. PlayStation has over 25 exclusives in development. Over almost half of those being new IP. Sony's doomed?
Sony is doomed.
Sony's so doomed.
Sony doomed. Eurogamer writes, speaking to Wired, Guerrilla
co-founder... Or like Doomy, am I right?
Doomy. Guerrilla co-founder Herman Holst shared the numbers and said, quote, there's an incredible amount of variety originating from different regions in the pipeline with a mixture of big, small, and different games. There are, of course, several first-party games we already know about, including Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, Horizon, Gran Turismo, God of War, but there are many games unaccounted for. The way the PlayStation Studio brands work, however, means that not all of these mystery games will necessarily be made by Sony-owned studios. Back when the brand was announced, Senior Vice President Eric Lempel told GameIndustry.biz that the PlayStation Studios brand doesn't mean that we outright own the developer. So what he's talking about there is the Jade Raymond studio now that's working on something. What is that called? Haven, I think. And then you also have the team that split off from Bungie. What are they called?
Shit.
Fire or something?
Fire, it's something like that.
I don't remember, but those are like two teams that are partnered with Sony making an exclusive game, but they're not owned by Sony. Maybe someday they will be, but so those also count in this. So when you think about it, we have, let's try and think. We got, like, does Kena
Firewalk.
Firewalk. Does Kena count? Is Kena in this?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So we got Ratchet & Clank, Horizon, Gran Turismo, God of War. We have Haven. We have Firewalk. We have...
I think we might have their...
Naughty Dog's working on something.
Pixel
Opus is working on something.
Pixel Opus.
Then we have Housemarque as well.
Media Molecule might be working on something, or they're making Dreams into something bigger for PS5. There's so much. There's so much unaccounted for. Even, San Diego Studio and their future with MLB, we'll have to wait and see what that means, So there's a lot to be figured out there.
Also, I mean, you could count on probably maybe like one or two indie studios here or there.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about this, and this relates to what I was bringing up earlier with the Game Pass and the double dipping and the 2 paydays. Resident Evil 8, we got our UK physical sales ratio, and I was kind of shocked by this, honestly. So almost 50% of UK physical sales for RE8 are PS5. PS4 is 31. So right off the bat, that's crazy to me that PS5 is beating PS4. PS5 has 1/20th overall throughout the world of the units out there that PS4 does. So that's crazy off the bat. Right. Xbox, the entire family of Xbox consoles, only 20%. So that's what I'm talking about here. Why, when you have ratios like that, PlayStation doesn't have to put out near as much money to get exclusivity because they have that market dominance. They have that market share. They have that ratio. And then on top of that, why not give that exclusivity timed for 6 months or a year when Xbox is going to come and swoop in afterwards and say, we'll give you this amount of money if you put it on Game Pass for everybody. So they get 2 paydays.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It seems like a great way to go about things.
100%.
But it makes me think that you might see more and more of this timed exclusivity on PlayStation for that first year. And then the Game Pass comes in and everybody gets to play it on Game Pass. Game Pass, though, not yet profitable, you guys.
What?
Oh, no. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Not me. Actually, all of us thought that here on Next Level Gamescast. All of us here thought that Game Pass could not be profitable. Segment Next writes, Microsoft has reportedly been sustaining Xbox Game Pass without registering any profits since the subscription-based service was launched nearly 4 years ago. Talking to Twitter earlier today, The Verge editor Tom Warren explained that the revenue obtained through millions of subscriptions is not enough to balance out the costs incurred in terms of acquiring new games and publishing deals, general investments, and such, not to mention the upkeep costs of hosting Xbox Game Pass across the world on multiple platforms. One comparison you can make is Netflix. Right? I mean, God, right. Netflix still might not be profitable. But you can see the trajectory. You know what they're doing. And if you go that way, it almost mimics the start of Game Pass, right? Netflix at the start was, let's throw everything on here. Every TV show, everything you could watch on Netflix. It didn't have a lot of exclusive content. It was just all about everything being on there. And now you look at
all
Netflix.
All the warriors are here.
And I can't believe how many exclusives are on Netflix. Like how many shows and things that I would never watch and I see and Netflix originals. Like, what the hell? How many Netflix originals are there now? How many things are being made by Netflix? And there's not a lot of syndicated stuff on there anymore. You don't have The Office on there anymore. You don't have Friends on there anymore. You don't have Lost on there anymore. All these shows that used to be on there aren't there anymore because they're more focused on exclusive content. And it makes you wonder if that's the trajectory for Game Pass, where they're losing money now. They're throwing everything on there, and 5-10 years from now, when they're finally hopefully making money, it's not going to have everything. It's not going to be about having everything. It's going to be about holding you on there, making sure you can't let your subscription lapse, because you're not going to be able to play this exclusive unless you have Game Pass. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll have to see. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Luke, Ebenezer Giza, thank you so much for being here. If you're heading out, appreciate you. And finally, our final story of the night with 48 seconds to go. Take-Two has 63 games in development pipeline to release before end of fiscal year 2024. That is 23 immersive core games, 6 independent, 20 mobile, 4 mid-core, and 9 new iterations of previously released titles. How many of those are just GTA 5?
9 of those.
I know.
At least
I'm just kidding. But it's exciting. This is the strongest pipeline they really ever had for a 3-year time frame, and it's about time. I mean, GTA 6 has got to be in there, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
I would think so.
In the next 3 years,
I'm still thinking it's going to see the Rockstar Table Tennis. Going to be at least one of them.
Never know. That is
especially in VR.
Run, you guys. Just in time. Nice. Yeah, it's interesting though how they describe. We were talking about this off show. It's interesting how they describe their categories: immersive core, mid core, and I think we kind of agreed, right, that mid core is AA, immersive core is AAA, and indie is indie.
Yeah, yeah. No, sorry. Yeah, I was just reading up on a new story there real quick, so I was like, wait, well, hold up, but it's nothing big. Sorry about that. I got distracted. Yeah, no, like mid core's got to be a little bit more indie. Independent's got to be like, where they keep like Borderlands and stuff like that at. Like, that's where that's going to be from. Then immersive core, I think, is going to be more like, GTA and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. That is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much to everybody for being here. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to join us again next month, which is, I think, the 20th. June 20th, I'm pretty sure will be our next episode of Next Level Gamescast. Hit that heart button here at twitch.tv/thelevelshow. Turn on notifications. Make sure you get those alerts whenever we go live with game streams and talk shows. If you're watching or listening to this as an archive, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whichever is your service of choice. And very important, as you saw tonight on the episode, Discord is essential to the interactivity. So join us, discord.gg/levelupnetwork. Become a part of the community, and even when we are not live, make sure you get your submissions in for fake fans, NLG's Got Game, Halftime Hedge. Get your clips going, guys. I don't know if it's all any clips tonight, but don't forget the clip contest is active. You can get a lot of seasonal points for winning each month's clip contest. And of course, guys, follow Vince and Tom on their channels. Type in their commands in chats. Give them that level up love. They deserve it very, very much. We do have some major shout outs as we do every month. Please, Tom.
That's right, Drew. We must thank those who go above and beyond to support this show and make it possible. Our producers supporting at $25 and above, either here on Twitch or on Patreon. They are Agent Vincent 4756. Man, that guy is fantastic, isn't he?
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
Bass 023S. Yes. And Dirac11, as we said, 2 years now?
2 years. He came in tonight with his 2-year anniversary tier 3.
2 years as on the producer level. Thank you so much, Dirac11. Big, big ups to you. And if you, once again, would like to join in our exclusive producer panel, all you have to do is support the show at $25 or above here on Twitch or on Patreon.
That's all you have to do. No big deal.
That's all you
no
gotta
big
do.
deal. Just
no
$25 a month.
Whoop.
Let's not act like I'm not that I'm calling you out, but man, like $25 a month is crazy. Like you guys supporting at that level, that is above and beyond. As we say, if you want to go above and beyond, that is above and beyond without a doubt. $25 a month is insane. You guys rock. Thank you, Tom, for doing that. That is a wrap on Season 2, Episode 2 of Next Level Gamescast. Next month, as I said, we return on June 20th for another episode of NLG, so make sure to come back. But it is not over yet, Snake. It's not over yet. We do have one more level. Each month, each episode of Next Level Gamescast, we end with a final word. And Tom decided he wants the floor this month. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, yes. Friends, if you are interested at all in the legal process or generally just being able to see bickering back and forth at the most professional levels that you possibly can, you cannot miss this Epic versus Apple court case. This has really captured my imagination over the past couple of weeks. The amount of nonsense that has come out of this thing, all the tweets, all the court documents that are coming out, leaks, internal jabs at other companies, the exchanges that we've been having with the judge and the lawyers about the nature of a naked banana in Fortnite, or asking how Tinder works. Things of this nature. And the existential question to end all existential questions: what actually is a video game when you think about it? Is Minecraft a video game? Is Roblox a video game? Or does it exist in the metaverse? We don't know.
Are we gonna get a movie out of this someday, Tom?
I hope so.
I hope that this is a movie. I really do. I think if we do a casting call next week, I want to see the casting call for this, because we just had on Friday, we had Tim Cook take the stand, and that was a very contentious. If you wanted to see somebody who was sweating and getting a little annoyed at the questions that he was getting, you should look back at the transcripts for the Tim Cook testimony, which was very, very enlightening. And it definitely kind of gave an idea, at least, that the judge is starting to look a little bit toward Epic's way on things, because they were very critical on Apple on some of the questions that they were asking.
And one of the things you guys brought up, and we didn't get to talk about it tonight, there was a lot we didn't actually get to talk about tonight. One of them being that Xbox supposedly on their hardware has like never been profitable, according to some of this stuff that was leaked out in
some of the internal court documents, and some of the things that are being said under oath up on the stand. Stuff like that's being thrown out there. There's been game announcements essentially.
Yeah.
That have been made. I gotta go back and review and see how many games were actually just shadow announced during this trial.
It is crazy, you're right.
But it's insane. It is absolutely insane. Legitimately, the entire idea of them taking time out to explain the difference between the character in Fortnite, Peely, whether or not it's in or out of a tuxedo, and if it's not in the tuxedo, is it naked?
So stupid.
The whole reason why they showed it in court wearing a suit is because this is the exact quote was, we have a yellow banana here, don't we? In a tuxedo? Apple's lawyer, Rich Doran, said, in fact, in the tuxedo, he's known as Agent Peely. We thought it better to go with the suit than the naked banana since we are in federal court this morning.
Oh my God. That's
these are
insane.
actual quotes from the
This
trial.
is amazing. I don't think this needs to be a movie. This needs to be like an HBO series.
Needs to be.
Go back and watch and try to find the Twitter threads of the court reporters who are reporting on this, because they've been live tweeting through this thing. We actually have closing arguments start tomorrow, but I don't think the case is actually going to be judged or finally deliberated until I believe we still got a couple more weeks before we actually come to a conclusion of this thing. But closing arguments are tomorrow. So if you want to tune into something, get closing arguments, read up on this case, definitely. Because with all that being said, this is actually going to be a case that's going to have a lot of implications going forward in the business of video games beyond just what we're talking about now. The idea of, are gamers subsidizing Apple's business model being one of those things, and what does that actually mean, and how much is Apple going to have to change, if anything? We already just saw that Microsoft is even considering doing it themselves, where they were at one point considering dropping their developer cut that they were taking. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen, not only just within video games, but actually in the general mobile app store marketplace. So
it's a big case. It's a big kind of groundbreaking thing, and it's allowed a lot of people to see a peek behind the scenes into really something that they never had before, and maybe they shouldn't have, because people are taking so many of these things and turn them into like these huge stories, trying to make all this drama around it, and then all these people that knew about it already is like, guys, this is the way it's worked for like 20 years. Like this is nothing new. Like this is the way it works.
It's like super illuminating to anybody who like hasn't really been like super paying attention to it. But because this is being thrust into the public sphere, now we're kind of getting that over toward us. Yeah.
Well, Tom, you are going to be ahead now, but we have hit after show because King Kurt came in with the $25 tippy. I'm going to do 3 wheel spins for that. And then Vince, I guess Vince wants to keep talking. He's not done.
I want to keep talking. I'm not done yet.
I got to go to bed because I got to be up in about 3 hours.
Tom, you need to go to
bed. So we got 175 through the entire room for King Kurt. I'm going to do 2 spins for Vince here. We got 150. That's 150 to the entire room. Way to go, room. And I'm gonna spin for Darkside as well, coming in with the 200 biddies. Thank you so much for the biddies.
Are we seamlessly doing into this? We're not doing the credits here.
75 SP. I'm gonna do the credits in just a second. Yeah, I want to get these all in before people leave, if they are leaving. 75 to the entire room, and I also want to do the goal wheel because we hit our daily tip goal, courtesy of the 2 tips that came in, and everybody in the room gets. Wait for it. 500 seasonal points to everybody in the entire room. That is the official end of Next Level Gamescast. Vince and I will stick around post-show for NLG After Show, which has no agenda, just talking with you guys about everything and anything. And if you add another $25 in tips on, that becomes an hour of After Show, not just 30 minutes. So keep that in mind as well. We're going to say goodbye to Tom and anybody else who is leaving right now that might not be sticking around for After Show.
Bye, Tom.
Thank you to everybody for watching tonight. You're all beautiful. You're all amazing. We hope you have a great week. We hope to see you on Wednesday here for more Mass Effect, and check out Vince and Tom on their channels as well with their game streams. Until next time, take care, and as always, don't forget to
level up.
Level up.